Hello and welcome to the final round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic season, live from Mount Panorama, and welcome to our first ever stream on twitch.tv. Hello and welcome to the final round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic season. As I was just saying, look at the list of the tracks we have been to so far this season, and yet we still are able to top those tracks by coming here to Mount Panorama for this final event, a 250-kilometre event, 41 laps around this epic 6.2-kilometre circuit. And joining me today for this fantastic race will be Scott Davis. Hello, Scott. Scott Davis, Scott Woodwist. I do apologise. That was a good start to the broadcast.
I didn't realise that Davis family. I didn't realise that Davis family had a third brother. But nonetheless, yes. Hi, Ryan. Hello, everybody on the broadcast. Great to be back once again. Always a pleasure to commentate on Touring Pro Series. And unfortunately, it is a bit of it's a tinged race because, of course, unfortunately, after 5 magnificent seasons with the mod, we say goodbye to the Touring Car Legends mod, but. What a place and what a location to do it. Mount Panorama Bathurst, the home of Australian motorsport, the home of a legendary super cheap auto 1,000-kilometre touring car enduro. It is one of the greatest circuits in the world, one of my top 5. And I think with the kind of motorsport which it's produced over the years, including what we had this past couple of weekend with the epic conclusion to the V8 supercars, I think pretty much this is... Not in the shade at all, but certainly hopefully going to be put in just as much of a good spectacle as we saw just this past weekend when the real V8s strutted their stuff over in New South Wales in real life.
Yeah, of course, this track hosted the 1987 World Touring Car Round, and many of these drivers and cars and liveries are all from that era of racing, even in the ATCC when it was just the Australian Touring Car Championship also as well. So plenty of history at this track with these cars. It's a beautiful fit. They are on their qualifying laps right now, so we're going to jump right on board with them, bring you up to speed with what has been happening. And people are on their qualifying laps, and it's been a skyline domination at the moment, apart from the usual pretender Toby Davis so far, Scott.
Yeah, this certainly seems to be a Skyline Circuit. Adrian Holm, championship leader, who can all but sealed up the championship after the events of Trois-Rivières, which were still reeling about 2 weeks afterwards. But both Adrian Holm and his I believe, the very rapid Klaus Nearing are currently 1-2. Toby Davis looks to be third quickest as they were in the practice session. Peter Hennenberg has returned for this race, but of course the likes of Robert Wiesemuller and John Monroe also looking to try and upset the apple cart as well. So, and also Ross McGregor. So, I mean, Toby Davis is always kind of a lone ranger. He's out there as one of the only kind of the highest forward out there. The second highest forward appears to be, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's Chris Butcher. But even so, I mean, it looks as though Toby's going to have his work cut out, and he needs a minor miracle, with all due respect, to try and grab this championship. Because from what we believe, all Adrian Holm needs is just a place or better to seal up the Classic Championship. So he would want to go out there for a strong race, but at the same time he won't want to take too many risks that could potentially put him in a situation that could potentially have the worst possible scenario.
That's right, and obviously Adrian's the best thing to do, of course, is to be out front, isn't it? You don't want to be mid-pack, 6th, 7th or whatever. You want to be out front, and that's, you can dictate the race at your terms from there. So that's what Adrian will be looking for here. A great qualifying session, get himself in on pole position, good start to the race, and then, for want of a better word, just leave. Everyone else to it. So just get on with the race. We're good at opening the stint, and then from there. The strategy for this race is looking something like, we'll see a one-stop for hards. Nothing too fancy here, it seems, from what I've been talking to the drivers about. So we'll see 2 stints of hard tyres with 1 pit stop in between. As we say, it's 41 laps around this circuit, 250 kilometres, just over. And drivers will be obviously pitting around about the 20 lap mark. Now, one of the stories is that Eric de Veit is back for this event. He's missed almost the entire season, apart from Suzuka and Spa. He won the race here in Season 4 with this mod against Jesper Tolberg, dominated in fact, actually. So we're looking for him to be strong here today, Scott. And I'm sure he's also overdue a good performance.
Yes, he's brought back his trusty Rover SD1 as well to come to the party, and it's effervescent Demon Tweaks livery, and he's going out there still putting it sideways as he always likes to do. But he's going to head down the pit straight to try and go his first qualifying lap and head towards him. And as we head down into Hell Corner into turn 1, very tricky left-hander as he rises along the curve and uses all the exit. And then you start the first long climb up Mountain Straight, which then takes you up over the crest. There's enigmatic shots of the cars. They pop over the top of the crest and then plunge down towards the right-hander at the cut at Griffin's Bend. He then starts once again the climb up towards the top of the mountain, and he'll head down under brakes, bit of flame from the exhaust, a little bit snaky trying to get the car stopped, but he hugs the inside line as he should do. Lets it drift that wide over the curbs, almost clips the barrier, and then now continues to climb even further up towards the cutting. This is the scene back in 2005 where we had the massive crash between Greg Murphy and Marcus Ambrose in the V8 supercars. But of course we've seen many accidents go here in the Group A days. Of course, there was one, of course, that took out. I think it was one of the Dick Johnson cars, and also Neville Crichton as well. Had an accident there in about 1988, I think it was, an incident at that point. But then up across the top of the mountain, in through Reed Park and Sunwon Park, through McPhillamys with a huge gravel trap on the right-hand side, almost going into it, is de Veit. Then crossing the top of Brock Skyline, and the track just starts to fall away from you as we head into what's now been affectionately known as the Davis S's, as de Veit actually throws it off at exactly the same place that Toby threw it off several years ago, thanks to those infamous Fanta caps off his chair. And Monroe's not taking any liberties either. He smacks the wall coming at the top of the crest. So it's certainly a circuit, Ryan, that you cannot take liberties with. It's a circuit that if you take any kind of liberties, if you really mess around on it, it will bite back, and it bites hard.
That's what I would say. It bites, and you think, oh, it's a big track, it's a big mountain track, but actually it's really a street circuit. All the track is covered in walls, apart from the straights. And the straights, of course, is not where you're in danger. Once you come out of here, of course, you're free of walls. But unfortunately, by the time you get down to the end of this straight here, you then face the fastest corner in all of Australia, one of the fastest corners in the world. This car, for example, will be taking the chase down the bottom of here at 260 kilometres an hour. Remember, this is a late 1980s car, almost 30 years old. And it's cornering at 260 kilometres an hour. It's scary stuff right down here. Absolutely flat out into there. And then on the brakes, halfway down the hill, try and get it stopped because it's a downhill braking zone. Remember, this was put in for safety reasons. Scott. Absolutely incredible. This was Australians' version of safety, as Toby Davies just shows his gratitude there to, I think that was, I can't remember exactly who's driving that car. It's Anders Nielsen, sorry, it's a complete blank there. And Davies 14.308. He showed he's faster over the top of the mountain than the Skyliner, but Adrian Holm has gone to pole position, as we thought he might. 13.5 is his personal best, as Toby Davies just comes out of the pits ahead of him, making sure he takes the high ground. That was sneaky from him. Davis is aggressive out of the pits as well, bounces over the curb. But now if they're both on the power fully here, you'll be able to see the full power of the Skyline as it just blasts past the Sierra up the straight. It has 30 more brake horsepower, has similar kind of drag, and you see the difference up the straight there as you come now down towards Griffin's Bend. And they're on their outlaps. Let's find somebody who's on their hot lap. Sean Monroe is second at the moment, not far off the pole position. His PB is slightly better than Adrian Holmes' pole time right now. So if he equals that, he will be able to go to that pole position. Ross McGregor is another one who's at a 13.7 previously as well. So at a 14.3 at the moment. Of course, with such a long circuit, such a long demanding technical circuit also as well, you see much bigger gaps in the lap times here during qualifying. We're used to, aren't we, Scott, to seeing 1 or 2 tenths separating 5 or 6 drivers.
Yeah, it's one of those championships where the cars, believe it or not, it's the drivers are the ones that cause the cars to be more equalised, if that makes any sense, of course. Because they're able to get so much out of them, it means that these cars are, even though everyone seems to kind of use the strength of each car to their full advantage, which means that it can overcome any of their weaknesses pretty easily. Most of the Nissans, of course, are going to really be favourable here because, of course, the fact it is, for the most part, a power circuit. Cars like the Ford, of course, which are much better handling-wise, are going to be good across the top of the mountain, where grip of the mechanical grip and to an extent downforce with the big whale tails on the back is really going to be key. But we now watch Ross McGregor as he heads down towards the final corner at Murray's. He'll pitch it left and he'll probably ride the curb a little bit on the exit as he heads towards the start and finish line. And what time he put in, he stays fourth, but he does improve his time. 2 minutes 14.148 for that lap. Davis is now still on a lap. He's been tailing, on his out lap at least, tailing Adrian Holm as he's in hot pursuit. And these two are pretty much going to be setting hot laps pretty much nose to tail as they head back onto the lap. And I wonder possibly, I would have thought if Toby wanted to get max advantage, he would have backed up at some point.
Now he's looking for the draft. He's looking for the draft because he knows when he comes off this corner here, he'll get a beautiful draft up the straight from Adrian Holm. But of course, he thinks he might be quicker across the top of the mountain. He don't want to be too close. He just wants kind of a half a draft, and this will give him a tenth or 2 tenths of a second. And he's sticking right with Adrian Holm as he goes over the top of the mountain. Now as they go, over the bottom of the mountain, should I say? This big crest here. The car is actually really unsettled. It's really quite easy to have a crash there. So look out for that in case somebody's racing side by side. As they now go into Griffin's Bend, keep it nice and tight. All that camber on the inside, run over the curb on the outside, use all of the track. And now you go up to the cutting with its absolute maximum commitment in here. Throw it in narrow, get the braking zone. You have to just dab on the brakes. There's a curb braking zone also as well, so you can't just slam the brakes on. You really have to modulate it through there. As Adrian Holm gets completely sideways and gets out of the way of Toby Davis as well. So Toby is flying at the moment. He's sideways now at the top of the mountain. Now he begins his descent as he now dumps right into the grate and over Reed and Summerman Park. And now through McPhillamy is going to go. Maximum commitment it will be. Look at that, hugging right to the wall on the inside. Now clips the curb on the outside. Runs a bit of grass, that's okay. Now through Skyline, down the bottom of here into the S's. He's just about held it, and he's gone too deep into the dipper, and that will cost him big time, I think, as he now winds his way through all the turns, 23 turns at this particular circuit, and he only has to do it 41 times in a row. There's plenty of corners at this track, unfortunately, and now he's onto the straight. It's a tenth up on Adrian Holm, but of course he'll lose half a second down this straight, and I fear he will not improve his time here.
What was incredible
because of that running too deep into the dipper, but he was maximum commitment, and it was great to see.
What was incredible was that he found some 3/10 purely in that technical section at the top of the mountain alone, which just shows just how superior the Sierra is handling-wise as he throws his way into the dipper, into the chase, and again throws it through the left-hander. All the curb on the exit, that's going to cost him a tenth or two, and that's probably going to cost him even more. So, and again, he's sideways on the exit, kicking up some dust. So that's not going to get him the fastest time unless he finds a minor miracle.
He's going to go for a second lap here because he cannot get back to the pits in time to make another lap after this. So this will be his second flying lap. His tyres will... Oh, no, he's not going to go back to the pits. He's not going to do it, so he's done. So that is it. There's no way he'll get another lap in. He is trying, bless him. He's that sort of guy, but no way he'll get another lap in here. He has to. There's a minute when he usually gives 20 seconds of grace. So, if he'd been 30 seconds behind, perhaps it would do it, but not an extra 40 seconds there. He rejoins right ahead of Tim Straub. Tim catching him down the straight, of course, in that really powerful Skyline. Mustang. Oh, and Toby's getting out of the way there of Tim. Tim went to the inside to pass him, and Toby got out of the way, and he almost came into a massive collision there, a la Russell Ingall and Lee Holsworth, for anybody who watched the V8 Bathurst 1000 this year. So Adrian Holm is still in that pole position. He's going to set another lap time here. What can John Munro do? He looks the most likely, doesn't he, Scott, to usurp Adrian from this pole position.
And the interesting thing is that if anyone who knows John Munro will know that he does actually have some. He does have some experience in setting hot, because he does race in the British Sprinting Championship in a single seat in mind, but so it's all valid acts, and he set quite a few class records along the way, so he knows how to get the job done over one lap. He's no stranger to setting a quick lap time, and he's certainly going to try and prove it here as he makes his way across the top of Reed Park and Sullivan Park, just glides across towards the left-hand side of the track up the top of the crest. And look, and the amount of G-force you get as the cars are going through. Oh, he's clipped the wall slightly as he heads through there. And now heading out of McPhillamys. He'll now head up, just using the curb on the exit now. Really pushing hard as he charges to start his descent down the mountain. It's such a scary experience. The track just starts to just completely fall away from you, and a huge drop there. It really just makes, in a real car, it really just makes your stomach drop pretty down quickly. He continues to descend as he cascades down through towards Forest Elbeth. He'll tuck left, and then he'll just plant the foot to the floor on the exit, see what he can do as he fires it onto Conrad. He's only a tenth and a half off, but let's see if he can do anything. He does have a lapped car in front of him. He's one of the BMWs, the Mobile 1 Peter Brock livery BMW. He might get a slight tow here, because he'll have a straight line advantage. If he can gain any kind of slipstream from the car in front, he'll definitely be a bonus. Let's look at his commitment here.
Fourth, by the way. Nairi's just sneaked into the fourth there, knocked Ross McGregor down.
And let's look at his commitment here. He was pretty quick and didn't let off too much through the first part of the chase, and he's still tailing the BMW pretty close as he heads down towards the final corner. And he wants to try and get past if he can. He's being held up. That's gonna spoil it. I'm sure that the BMW will argue that he was on a hot lap, but he'll come towards the line. He'll get the tow, and he still is second. But I think the fact he got held up was what made the difference there. If he managed to get. But the thing is,
Shell Stenbeck was on a hot lap there. He went into 17th spot with that lap. We saw the arrow just pop up there. KST, that is Shell Stenbeck, who is in behind. So Shell, perfectly entitled to be on the track there, because he was on an improved lap for himself.
Absolutely. And as I said, he will argue, of course, he was on a hot lap, therefore he had every right to stay exactly where he was. John will feel a little bit aggrieved, but even so, second place and the front row start on the grid is certainly going to put him in a grand position to potentially grab a victory if he can possibly overhaul Adrian Holm at this point in time. He's only a tenth and a half off, so he's got the pace, it seems as though, over a single lap. But how his race pace fares, well, as we saw on Trois Rivières, Adrian Holm has more of that in abundance. But Toby Davis will certainly want to watch if he can head through the field and make the most of his handling advantage across the top of the mountain on the technical sections. He will certainly try and give Adrian a run for his money as best he can.
So Toby was up in that second sector there then, but came back to the pits because, of course, he knew he couldn't finish that lap then. So everybody seems to be back in the pit lane. Remember, you can follow our live timing, touringproseries.com/live timing. And there we go, that is the end of the session. touringproseries.com/live timing. That shows all the stats and all what's happening at the moment, the telemetry back from the track, where they are on the track, their best laps, what lap they're on at the moment, their best sectors. All the information you need to know in terms of timing and courtesy of live races. That's touringproseries.com/live timing. Now you can also you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/touringproseries. Make sure you subscribe to us here on twitch.tv. Make sure you subscribe to us if you're watching via YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And also you can follow us on Twitter as well. So we're open to all sources of media. Now, we're in this warm-up session here now then. There's just a few minutes to go before the start of the formation lap. Let's quickly show you the standings for this series. We spoke about how Adrian Holm is in command of this. Only needs an 8th spot to go through and win the title. And here are the standings for you. Adrian Holm with a 33-point gap there over Toby Davis. Somebody did do the maths and totted up Davis's mistakes. Scott, and
Right.
they found that Davis would have a 12-point lead at this point, had it not been for the mistakes he's made this season so far. So it's been a story. That's been the story of the season, hasn't it? Really, Adrian's not made mistakes, and when he has made a mistake at Suzuka, for example, he came back and won the race anyway. And Toby's mistakes have been costly, unfortunately. So, but John Monroe's had a great season. He's in that third spot. Looks like he'll definitely hold off Chris Butcher for that third spot. Chris is also a bit safe from Robert Wiesenmuller, but if anything happens to Robert, Matty Orban is lurking, as is Klaus Neiring as well, and Ross McGregor, despite the fact Ross McGregor has missed a couple of races. I think Robert actually missed a couple of races with an injured hand as well. Well, Jeff Dobbing had a great season so far. He's in 9th spot, ahead of Eunice Rivio. Jeff will not be under threat from Eunice Rivio, so Eunice Rivio was suspended from the championship, unfortunately, for his driving throughout, earned himself too many endorsements and removes. Ethan Bass has had a solid season, very impressive from him. Reece Gardiner has had some promise, but it's been a bad look pretty much throughout. Eric Tveit, as I say, only did 2 races, but there were 2 big point races, and he did do very well in both of them. So that's why he's still 13th in the championship, while David Junt and Rasmus Sala round out that top 15. Now, something happened tonight, didn't it, Scott? Something very exciting in sim racing. The next generation.
Yes, indeed. If anyone who doesn't know, you'll have seen the trailer here. And it's we're going to be moving, of course, to Assetto Corsa. This is the planner course. And looking at the visuals, I think you'll agree, it does look damn impressive. It is a beautiful game. Look at that. Pit stops as well, an animated pit career that's going to add to the enhancement. And some of the series that we're going to be hopefully having lined up are going to be just off the scale. One of the series I think is definitely going to be introduced, and definitely a kart's going to be implemented at some point, which keeps you the spirit, of course, of the Touring Pro Series, is the karts in development, which is, of course, the Nissan Primera BTCC car. Now, that car itself, I've seen video of it.
As well. It's a nice segue, because this is what we've got coming up this winter as well, haven't we?
Oh yes, indeed, of course. Talking of that, of course, I've seen the Assetto Corsa car, but then you've got the Virtual Super Tourer course. Sign-ups are still open. You can race the Alfa if you want, the front-wheel drive A4, the first generation 4 Mondeo if you takes your fancy with the Whaling V6. Then you've got the more raspy, more rortier V6 of the second generation Mondeo. Maybe you fancy taking a Honda.
Is that a word?
I've done cases, yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
in some ways. If that's going to go Japanese, you can take a Honda first or second generation. Don't put me off. Or the Primeras we talked about, very dominant back in 1999 with the Laurent Aiello. The Peugeots, which are good on the continent, but not necessarily the quickest in the British Championship. Can anyone try and pull that one? The enigmatic Renault Laguna, which of course in the hands of Alain Menu took the championship in 1997. The Volvo, the 850, not the estate car, but the saloon car that raced in 95-96, and the championship-winning Volvo S40 as well. If you want to stay truly British, you can go with the Vauxhall, the 1995 title-winning Cavalier, or the up-to-date Vectra, of course, which took racing from 1996 to the year 2000. So plenty of choices when it comes to the Virtual Super Tours, and this is the calendar course going forward. We start, of course, at Donington Park. Then we head to several others, Alton Park, Croft, Snetterton. I can't quite catch the other one because the screen on my thing is a little bit too small.
You don't know it off by heart? That's terrible. Sacked.
Almost.
Sacked.
Okay. Do you mind? I couldn't quite see. What is the circuit that's in the middle there in the yellow? So I can see it. Sorry.
It is actually quite difficult to see, actually. I'll give you that one.
On that one, but because they've got
everyone can guess. For those people who are thinking, well, that's really clear, it's because you're watching on Twitch.tv and we can't see. That's Thruxton, of course, and then the next one's Knock Hill. So,
yes, Thruxton, Knock Hill, and then Brands Hatch, and then Silverstone to round off the championship. Do you know what? I've had a bit of a thought live on air.
Oh, yes.
Do you reckon we should make either Snetterton or Silverstone a night race?
We could do that. It would involve a huge amount of work for me. Thank you for that idea.
It's purely an idea. It's purely an idea.
Right, so that's Scott's never commentating again for us because he creates work for me.
Okay, fine.
Right, let's move on. We've got plenty to talk about during this race. We've got a long race ahead of us. The formation lap is about to start for these guys. They will all be very excited on the grid. This grid is very tight as well. For a track that's so long and so large, the grid is very tight, and it's always cause problems. Look out for that. We're going to go back into the game now, and we'll look back from on board with Adrian Humm, looking back at the field. Of course, he is the pole sitter, and if you just talk us through the grid, Scott.
Absolutely. So, on pole position, the champion-elect, Adrian Humm, in his Nissan Skyline. Second place on the grid, of course, is John Monroe in the Calsonic machine number 12. Then Toby Davis is third. And of course, he needs to be said a minor miracle. He needs everything to go his way, and quite the opposite for Adrian Holm to stand any chance of taking the Saxon title at the last minute. And of course, as we said, it's not impossible, because we saw what happened in Trois-Rivières. Anything can happen in TPS, and in some cases it usually does. Klaus Neering, making his return to the series, is in 4th on the grid, with Ross McGregor in 5th in the Peter Jackson works-looking livery car. 6th place on the grid is Robert Wiesenmuller in his Bow Repair Skyline. 7th is Eric Tveit and the Demon Freaks Rover. 8th is Peter Hennenberg on row 4. Then Rob Taplin in 9th, with Rhys Gardner rounding out the top 10. Chris Butcher can only manage 11th in the Labatt's Ford Sierra. Mikael Helen in the JPS BMW 12th. Matty Orban 13th on row 7, with Matt Richards in 14th, and Ethan Bass in 15th, and David Juntz in the Texaco Sierra in 16th place on the grid. 17th on the grid, if we can scroll the standings in for just one moment to have a look, thank you very much, is Kjell Stenbeck, with Scott Cervic alongside him, 18th place. Bruno Sousa Ferreira, I believe in the Big Boom and Commodore, is 19th, with Anders Nilsson in 20th. Jeff Dobbing lines up 21st. Jonathan Osserklint in the Mustang is 22nd. Chris Vickers is 23rd. Headed Paul Minard in the beautiful red Alpha 75. Jay Adji is 25th, with Tony Matthews 26th. Tim Straub in another Mustang is 27th. Andy Bernard is 28th, with Lukasz Demelin in 29th. Glenn Morris, who is a long-standing racer in the VTMs, is back once again in 30th place. And 31st...
He's actually debuting, Scott.
Debuting, my apologies. It's been a while since I commented on TPS, and it shows.
It's Chris Vickers who raced a long time ago.
Yes, Chris Vickers, again, it has been a while since I commented at TPS, so do bear with me. And Tomasz Demelin rounds up the 31 car field that we had.
He's a filler.
Before that, it was quite a while. Anyway,
no.
But
You're
anyway,
already sacked anyway, so it's good.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. But anyway, I'm just being nonchalant. I don't care. So, no, I'm kidding. But no, of course, it's an exciting field. Of course, these guys are getting pumped because, well, how can you not do it? It's Bathurst. There's a fantastic array of different cars. There's several manufacturers represented.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Lovely cars coming down the street there. Great variety.
It is, and the great shot you'll get is all these 31 guys charging through the chase at full speed at 260 k's each. That is going to be quite a sight, and we'll see that just very shortly. But Adrian Holm will back the pack up as he heads into Murray's Corner. He'll bring them back to formation on the grid, and then we get set to say farewell in the same way we did with the V8 Supercar mod. We say farewell to the virtual Touring Masters and to the Touring Car Legends mod, but of course, Ryan, we do it in the only way we know how, and that's go racing, and of all places, we go racing on the mountain.
We do. It's going to be a fantastic race, I have no doubt about that. And we're going to be into the long haul run where it's 41 laps, so plenty of concentration required here at this particular track. No doubt about that. There is the field all lined up for you. There is the idiosyncratic grid of the Bathurst 1000. Nice and staggered, but nice and close together also at the same time. And the field is now all lined up. Look for those lights. It's 4 lights, and then green, and then we go for the final race, the Virtual Touring Masters Classic. Away from the grid they go. Great start there from Toby. It's a poor start from Adrian Holm. He's been swamped. Monroe's past him. Now he's past him. Tveit's past him. Davies is past him. Holm is back to 5th, and Wiesenmuller is right behind him also as well, with the other skylines there of McGregor and Henneberg hunting in behind. So we've got 2 cars that aren't skylines there in the top 8, and then we've got also Adrian Holm now going back past Eric Tveit along with Robert Wiesenmuller. So Tveit has been held off straight away, and Davies has been passed straight away also by Nyring and Monroe. What a start to this race.
And it's not too unsurprising, of course, the guys have that straight line advantage. They charge up into the cutting for the first time. Ryan Sterling, one of the Volvos, running up the inside of David Junt. There was Matt Richards, I think, in the Volvo. And they head now right towards the top of the mountain. It's Monroe who now leads it with Neering second. Davies is holding station in 3rd place after a super start through the middle of the front row. Holm is now in down to 4th, missing for the 5th.
Straight away at the start of the race, Ockerhill did the wall, coming up the hill.
Oscar into the wall, so he's going to have to pit for repairs. So they charge up towards McPhillamys, and this is a fantastic display. They charge one after the other, and that wall on the exit of Reed Park is going to be all important to try not to clash it. They head up towards the top of the crest. Hold your breath as they head up towards it and start to plunge downhill one after the other. The brilliant shots they charge through, and look at how many Nissans are in the top 10. It's incredible to think this is such a car to take an advantage of around that panorama. They're going to head through already through the dipper once again, and already the first 6 are starting to pull away. It's Monroe, Nearing, Davis, Holm, Wiesenmuller and Tveit, who will fire it onto out of Forest Elba and onto the Conrad straight for the first time. And watch these guys fly through the chase at 260 k's, as we said, is going to be some sight. And what a start it is already. And watch these Nissans go.
Absolutely, and you can obviously track all those times on our live timer as well, so you can see exactly how fast they're going to run. And Holmes making a move on Davis. Holmes making a move on Davis. Down the inside he goes at the chase, and through he goes. Davis has no answer. He does not have the power, and he's going back down the inside of Adrian. He's got nothing to lose, of course. Adrian's got everything to lose, and Adrian wisely gives him a very wide berth there. Davis back through to third spot. He continues his pursuit of Nyring and Monroe. And Wiesenmuller down the inside now of Adrian Holm. To right there is lurking in behind. Wiesenmuller down the inside. Holm is in a bit of bother here. He's in a danger zone right now. He's got people around him, close around him. They're all good races, of course, but anything could go wrong here. And Holm does not need anything to go wrong.
Oh, and there goes Davis, and there goes Nearing. Never goes around. Nearing goes around
there from Toby Davis. In fact, I saw him go with the inside Davis at that corner. Here's a replay. Let's see what happened here, Scott.
Yep, so it was down into turn one, and actually the problem was that Nearing tried to make a move past Monroe. It didn't work because he got checked up behind the blue skyline. He just ran a bit too deep into the corner. Davis clips the curb, but there's almost nothing he can do. He just taps him around, and that's almost a carbon copy of what we saw between Winterbottom and Lowndes in the real Fiat Supercars at the end of the race. As already here comes Nearing recovering. He's now trying to get past the Jägermeister BMW, which I think he almost has, not quite yet in fact. So he's trying to charge back up to the field and look to see exactly where he is. He's got back down, and that's a pretty tricky move. You don't want to make that there, Klaus, as he has to sit back in, but he's certainly getting pretty desperate to try and get back up to the field. But already Klaus Nearing has a lot of work to do, and he's still got another 38 laps or so to try and take advantage.
I think what happened there was that Nyring went wide. Davis just took his normal racing line, of course, and then Nyring came right back across. Davis didn't expect it, and ended up with a collision course there. Not quite sure if Davis could do too much about that, because once you committed to the corner, not much you can do. He kept right up against the curb, clipped the curb, and around went Nyring. So not one of those malicious accidents, but Wiesenmuller has had a spin. Wiesenmuller has a spin. We're going to come across him in a second here, because we're about to pass him. Look out for a blue... Where is he? Where is he? I didn't see him. They say look out for a blue skyline, but I can't see where he's at. It's just a timing glitch. Sorry about that.
It's a timing glitch, yeah.
So he is actually in that second spot still. He's got Adrian Holm right in behind him, and Davis has dropped back to fourth, of course, as a result of that contact with Nyring, which held him up and allowed the Scanners to go past him. Now Holm down the inside of Wiesenmuller, like it was a lap ago on Davis, not getting clear quite as much as he did over Davis, of course. But he does get that second spot, and Holm has kept his nerve, and now he's straight back to that second spot.
And the key thing is that whilst it's all been happening, John Monroe has kept his cool and has pulled away a gap already of 1.7 seconds. But now Holm's been released. The question is, how long is that going to stay like that? Into Murray's corner for the second time, and they're all starting to close it once again. So Monroe will get the gap. And what is it as they come across the line? It's 1.6 seconds. Wiesenmuller still tucking into third place, and Toby Davis is still just there or thereabouts in fourth. Eric Tveit, the rapid young Norwegian, in fifth place, with now Ross McGregor holding in sixth as they ride the curves on the exit of Hell Corner. And I wonder now, as effectively Davis will get a double toe from the two Nissans in front. Looking back now to see we've got Klaus Nearing, who's being chased down by Kjell Stenbeck.
I was just going to say, he was up to 14th at Forest Elba, but must have made a mistake because he's now back there again, because the gap was 10.7 to the leader. And of course, Matti Urbani is more than that away, so he's clearly gone past, and now he's going past Kjell Stenbeck once again. He's back in behind as Nielsen. Remember, Nielsen was with the guy who was trying to pass earlier on the previous lap, so Nyring has made a mistake and exacerbated the problem that he's had with Toby Davis. So he's created his own problems now at the moment. He needs to just calm down and he'll be fine.
He's take a couple of deep breaths if he can and just try to steady himself, because getting worked up like that at this stage of the race is not going to do him any favours, as we now ride on board with Glenn Morrison, personally my favourite livery for the Holden Commodore HSV Group A Walkinshaw. That's the livery of car number 7. That's the old school HRT livery, the black and white, sponsored by Telecom Mobiles. But he's now in a fight with Jonathan Osterklint and Scott Servick as well, as Jay Adjuls are getting there. And Morris clips the wall on the exit as he comes across the top of Reed Park. And just as they get the negative G's of Sullivan Park, they're going to head back up towards through McPhillamys with the huge gravel trap on the right hand side, being very careful not to try and take too many liberties right there. They'll head up towards Brock Skyline, as you see now Glenn Morris just hunting down the Mustangs. They head back to the S's, and now the gut-wrenching Dipper, the huge drop in elevation. She charged down underneath the Triple X gold banner and now back up towards Forest Elba. They'll tuck left, as we said, and then it's all about who can get on the power quickest to get the best possible run onto the Cornwall Straight for the third time, asking huge tail slide from Glenn Morris in that huge, big, wallowing hold of Commodore. And now he's going to come under attack from Ossicund of a number 29 Mustang. And who's going to have the better straight line speed here? It's Ford versus General Motors in terms of engines. And I think so far, Ryan thinks that General Motors is pretty much winning this one out.
It looks very, very similar, doesn't it? But Ockenden Flicky, his car's not quite as square as it was. He's rounded it off a little bit. He's made it a bit more modern. He's modernised it, should I say. And Adrian Hull goes faster. He gains 2/10 on John Munro on that lap. So let's go back to the lead of the race and let's see what's happening. It's 15.9 from Munro, 15.7 from Adrian Holm. Apparently they can do 14s in race pace, which is absolutely incredible, as that would be enough to put them in the top 6 in qualifying, never mind in their race pace. And the race pace is very different around this particular track because it's such a strange circuit. Davis is now stuck behind Robert Wiesenmuller and finding it difficult to get past, of course, because Wiesenmuller is so quick on the straights. Even if he does get past, it's very easy for Wiesenmuller to repass him once again when they get to the next straight. So Davis is up against it here. His car is not suited to this track as much as these Skylines are. Davis is probably the second quickest, maybe the third quickest driver out there at the moment, and he's in 4th spot. So that's an incident with Nyring has hurt him as well as it's hurt Nyring. Now he's now up to that 16th spot, so look out for him coming through the field. And Nielsen's now passed Bruno Salsfera, as you can see as well. So they're having a great battle back there. We're watching this ball in the wall very hard there at McPhillamy. That was a huge piece of contact for all of those drivers there, and that's a bit too hard for comfort. In our factory, of course, it is just sim racing. You can just clip that wall there and get absolutely away with it all. And Davis almost cleans up his THR teammate. But like I'm saying, you can get away with little clips of the wall there at McPhillamy Park, but those were not clips, those were slams, Scott.
And the one thing you have to be careful of is that with Robert Wiesenmuller, despite whatever car he's in, he's certainly not one to welcome you to try and just sail past him easy. Robert Wiesenmuller can defend like the best of them, and of course he can take maximum advantage of the straight line speed that he has in this car to start to pull away. And actually the man that benefited from that crescendo of cars was actually Eric Tveit, because he closed in very, albeit briefly, onto the back of the duo in front of them. As we continue to look back at the high-speed runner, they should lock up there from Wiesenmuller, and he desperately tries to get it stopped. And again, he locks both the outside, then the inside front, heading into the chase. Bit of a tail slide there from Davis, who tries to get the power back on. Of course, it's naturally aspirated Skyline versus the turbocharged Ford Sierra, but the Sierras only have about 350 brake horsepower, so they're not the full.
369 they have.
369, my apologies. So only about 369 brake horsepower compared to the some kind of 550 brake horsepower plus they had in real life in proper race trim. They had, especially over here in Australia, with
this
is the Johnson.
Yeah, this is the DTM. This is the DTM engine that we run in the Virtual Touring Masters, where they had 369 brake horsepower because their turbo was restricted in the DTM days. So the M3, the Merc, and the Sierra could all race equally in that series rather than be part of different classes. So that's the engine we use here for obvious balancing reasons.
They head back into Griffin's brilliant shot here as they head exiting the corner. Of course, as they run across the exit curve, as a lot of drivers have been doing. Now we look back at Eric Tveit, looking here at the Works liveried Nissan Skyline of Ross McGregor. That's the car that was sponsored by Peter Jackson. That was the days when Georgie Fury and Glenn Seaton were driving these cars. As they now head back up into the top of the mountain at Reed Park and Silverman Park, watching to be careful on the wall. It's caught out many a driver over the years. Even one year back in the 70s, it actually caught a Camaro out and flipped it over and so on back onto its roof. So that's certainly not a corner that you can take any liberties with whatsoever. As they make their way through once again across here, and this is the key one here, because there's no time to admire the scenery whatsoever. As we now go on board with Matt Richards in the big Volvo 240, and he's being hustled now by Chris Butcher. He looks to the outside to try and think about stealing ninth place from him. Matt Richards gets sideways, and how on earth did he stop a car of a Volvo of all kinds in a slide like that? We have to see it on replay. Jumpers also had a great view of it as well. But Chris Butcher must have had his heart and his mouth watching that one. That was incredible. So on board here, looking at the perfect view here, under brakes, and just over the bump as he's trying to get it stopped. He clips the curb on the inside, gets airborne through the first part of the S as it lands back down on all four wheels. He's hard on the brakes, thinking, please don't go towards the wall. He's counter-steering as hard as he dares. Somehow gets this Volvo stopped and continues for it to be pointing in the right direction. It seems as though for once the Davis S's are actually giving minor miracles rather than actually causing headaches for many drivers. As now Butcher has finally got past. They're still side-by-side exiting the chase. The Metridges will not give us position up easy, but Butcher consider himself a very lucky man not to get caught up in a very serious incident.
And of course, back in season 2, he was caught in a very serious incident with Toby Davis at that particular corner. When Davis crashed there in season 2 while leading, Butcher came through and cleaned him up. It's not massive damage that he sustained in that, but he still talks about it, as is his wont. Still whinges about it. Still tells Toby. Remember that time we took you out of Bathurst? Happens every single year. Every single time we come to Bathurst, in fact, actually. We come to Bathurst plenty of times in the Touring Pro Series. This is something like the 10th race at this particular track. 10th event at this particular track, probably more than that in terms of races. So now Butcher now covers to the inside. His car has got less drag on that straight, hence why he was able to get past the Volvo. As you can see from the Volvo, it's not the most aerodynamic. If you were designing an aerodynamic car, you would not use that as a template. That's for sure. So now let's look back through the field a little bit more here. The leader is quite close to John Munro, but I doubt he'll make a move just at the moment. So we'll go back to that in just a second. Michael Hellen's been very solidly here at the moment in 12th spot. He's just going to make sure he keep lapping, keep his pace up, and hopefully take advantage of the mistakes of others in that beautiful BMW 635 livery. That car looks so good in that livery. It's absolutely awesome. Klaus Naring has made his way back up to that 13th spot that he was actually in at the end of lap 2, but made a mistake. Now he's back up there once again. Of course, he has great pace and a great car for this track as well. 14th spot is Mate Orban from Hungary. He had great events early in the season, especially at Vitus Park, who's right in the mix there until his tyres went off. But he's gradually declined throughout the season. But overall, he'll be pretty happy with where he is in the championship. Bruno Salsa Ferreira in the other BMW 635. The other BMW 635 as well as Łukasz Demling. He's got 3 of those in the race. He's got Anders Nielsen right in behind him, right underneath his bootleg as they come down Conrad here. Of course, the 635 is a bit more powerful than the M3.
And it is quite fun to see how the little BMW M3 can keep with the big 635. Of course, against that trade-off, like we see with the Sierra versus the Skyline, as the 635 has the power advantage of a much bigger capacity engine, which means he's clearly going to be faster on straights. But thanks to the tow that he gets, the E30 M3, and of course with its lightweight and nippy performance and its nimbleness, in its agility, helps it in the twisty sections on the top of the mountain, which means it's pretty even Stevens between the two of them. And it comes down to the driver as well as how he can hustle this car around the mountain. And look at the run that Anders Nielsen gets on the back of the 635 as they head back down. 4. Anders gets a shot, trying to make a move into grabbing 14th position, his 15th position. And I wonder possibly if he'll get a chance to down towards Griffin's Bend if he stays in the situation where he is. Well, that said, Salsa Ferreira does have quite the power advantage, but Nielsen is certainly staying with him. He might even try and throw it up the inside if he's brave enough. He is looking to try and put himself into Bruno's mirrors. He's now going to think about it. He's actually listening to me because he tries to go back up the inside. A little bit of body contact. Salsa runs a little bit wide on the exit as the 2 cars behind scrapping also almost go side by side. That's Anders. That's the Holden Commodore or Glenn Morris with Jonathan Oscar. They're still scrapping away, and they're side by side on the exit of the cutting. And it's Oscar who wins out for temporarily, but I'm pretty sure that won't be the end of it because Morris, in that big booming Holden, he'll want revenge and he'll want it pretty quickly.
We've lost already Łukasz Demling, Peter Henneberg and Paul Minard. So Paul Minard's had an accident, which is not very advisable in a 41 lap race. He should really be avoiding that and do it later on, really, when you're pushing. But Adrian Hall has taken the lead of the race. We completely missed that. Will we get a replay of that? We will not get a replay of that. So Adrian Holm is in the lead of this race, and everything is back to normal. Scott, that's how we've been watching this for the second half of the season. Just been Adrian Holm leading this race most of the time. The only times he's not been leading the race has been Trois Rivières and Brands Hatch. One he did win, one he came a narrow second. For those of you who don't realise what happened at Trois Rivières, I advise you go and watch it on YouTube in the final lap. However, we'll just describe it quickly for you, for those who probably can't be bothered. So Toby Davis ended up leading the race at Trois Rivières by a country mile. Absolutely dominated the race, was the fastest driver by a long way. Great consistency. Started sliding around a little bit on the final lap of the race after 63 laps. It's understandable. It's a very long and arduous race there, and missed his braking point ever so slightly for turn 5 of a 7-turn circuit on the final lap of a 63-lap race. Clipped the wall, it spun him around, and Adrian Hulme came through and won the race. And it was the most incredible finish to a TPS race I think I've ever seen, in terms of its actual incredulity. You know, he couldn't believe that it actually happened. Incredible in terms of amazing, I've seen better, but the actual disbelief of what happened has never been equalled, I don't think. I don't know about you, Scott.
No, I think also for me it was also the most excited I've ever heard you on any broadcast, because I've never heard you explode with emotion as you did when you saw that. I mean, certainly I was quite stunned, but you were on another level. You're kind of just... your voice reached pitches that I never knew existed, because you were just absolutely stunned by what had happened. But
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, Toby Davies has gone back through the third spot here. Moving on from that. Toby Davies has come back through to third spot. So he's passed Robert Wiesenmuller just on this lap, in fact, actually, while we've been talking about him. So he's obviously passed him somewhere near the top of the mountain, because he's pushing really hard. Oh
my goodness.
How did he not crash that car, Scott?
I don't know. I think that's just a mighty car control, I think, on that side of things. That was an incredible save, Toby, and it deserves a replay. And it all started pretty much there. He was a little bit offline going into the S's, and again, just on the exit, just getting sideways. And again, it's the same as we had with the Volvo earlier on, just trying to just counter-steer as much as he could, just jamming on the brakes, and thankfully he managed to getting it stopped just in time to keep it pointing in the right direction. But now, look, this has allowed both Wiesenmuller and Rosberg to close in, not just because they're straight line advantage, but also Davis is going off.
As well.
Now is that damage, or is it just Toby Davis losing concentration like he did at trial over? Yeah, because
Toby Davis pushing too hard because he knows he's under threat from the skyline in behind.
And the thing is, he must know that if Adrian Hulme is leading there, he knows he has to do as much as he can, but even so, he has to be sensible, and he has to drive his own race. He can't afford to be driving outside his own limits. He has to make sure he keeps the car pointing in the right direction, because, as we said, anything can happen. Something could happen to Adrian, something could happen to him that helps him along with his chances in the championship, and could go his way. He cannot start pushing this hard and making this many mistakes. Have we lost John? John was down to 6.
He must have spun at the first corner. We didn't see this.
Let's have a look.
Out of view.
Oh no! Hold on.
No. Oh, he's had a screen freeze. Look, he's had a technical issue.
Yeah, he's had a lag
cost
spike.
him some 10 seconds. It looks like to me.
Yeah.
Oh, so unfortunate for John Munro. He's running in a strong second spot there, right behind Adrian Hulme, 1.3 seconds behind. And a technical issue has seen him drop right back to 6th. Reece Gardner, by the way, is having a great race at the moment. He's in that 7th spot. He'd be loving this. The only Australian, well, actually, I think Len Morrison may be Australian, not quite sure. The only Australian in the field, Reece Gardner, enjoying himself at his home track.
And of course, in Australian car, in the Holden. And of course, these cars, they were known to come on stronger in the longer races, because of course they were simply a little bit more reliable. And that's the reason why. 90! Oh no!
That's a
what have we
huge
done?
hit in the wall, and that will have bent the steering terribly, and that will now handle horribly for the rest of the race, just as we're giving him some props as well.
I think we need to be quiet about any drivers, because as soon as we talk about them, they start to have mistakes. We've done it with the Volvo, we've done it with Toby Davis, we've done it with John Munro.
Well, there's not much point in commentating if we do that, is there really?
Well, no, absolutely. As engine sounds, we've got that to enjoy as well. Of course, the Holden sounds like a great car, but even so.
Well, let's go on board actually with Reece Gardner. Enjoy a lap here. Let's see how much damage he's got, and enjoy a lap of Bathurst. As soon as we just keep cursing everybody, let's try and break the hex by enjoying just some engine sounds for the next few minutes. And that was a lap with the wonderful Holden Commodore VLTWR of Reese Gardner. We've lost John Munro once again. He's gone back now to 9th spot. He's had another screen freeze here. That's 2 in a row I think he's had, and that's cost him massively. Both cost him 11 seconds pretty much exactly. So not sure exactly what's happening to John Munro here. Carlos now is back up into that 10th spot. Oh, look at this. Yunt and Richards. They always seem to be battling on track. And around the outside goes Richards. And Yunt pushes it out.
Oh!
Yunt's going to go to the wall. Oh, he stops it just in
kept
time. Graveltrap did a great job there of making sure Yunt didn't go in the wall. What did you think of that, Scott? Here's a replay.
Well, I think in some case that was pretty inevitable. They were playing the game of last of the late breakers, and Richards, a valiant effort for trying to keep it around the outside. But once you get a car as heavy as the Volvo across the curbs and on the grass, they actually got airborne slightly across the grass. And of course, once you get on there, it just unsettles the car to an extent where you cannot. It gets very hard to control. You got sideways trying to get the power down, and then Jump was the innocent party in that, and as an innocent passenger, he gets bucked up into the air very slightly, and that chucks him across the gravel trap. And David Junt and the gravel trap both doing a fantastic job to stop that Sierra from hitting the barriers. He has rejoined in 15th, which is now 16th place, because now he's lost places to Anders Nilsson and now Glenn Morris. And Glenn Morris charging past Nilsson also. Look at Glenn Morris taking 2 places in one corner, trying to go round the outside of the Jägermeister BMW. They're always side by side, and Anders Nilsson with a very cheeky move.
Incredible. That's almost a massive accident there between these guys. And you're down the inside now of Glenn Morris. He's searching. It's not quite going to be enough. But Richards there looked like he was on the outside. Into the wall goes Glenn Morris. A big twitch there, straight to the wall. Clips Yunt on the way back through. And Morris now backed off and back in line, back down to that 16th spot. It looked like Yunt pushed Richards wide there at the chase, or maybe his car just understeered naturally, of course, because on that tighter line, and it's difficult that corner. It's very difficult to get 2 cars through there. It's difficult enough by yourself. So one of those things, I think, where it could have been Richards who lost out, it could be Yunt that's lost out, but in the end, it was Yunt who lost out in that particular exchange, and he's back down now to 15th spot, while Richards continues in that 11th spot, and he has Mikael Helen not far behind him. Mikael Helen making sure he's picking up on any mistakes, and Matty Orban is following Mikael Helen faithfully here. Yours faithfully is Matty Orban.
Absolutely, and Matty Orban doing a grand job, because Mikael Helen is in that JPS BMW. Of course, there's a car that was campaigned by Jim Richards in the Toulouse 1000 as well, and of course Matty Orban in the enigmatic
1986 winning ATCC car.
Absolutely, taking the fight to some rather established names along the way. And as they now head out of Morris Corner, a little bit sideways, this now allows the small BMW. It's a battle that we saw before with these 2 cars before battling with Nilsson and Bruno Sousa Ferreira. So it's another battle between the generations of BMW going toe to toe. Also, Matt Richards is recovering after his incident with David Junt a couple of laps ago at the chase, but that big Volvo, sure, with power, is probably going to be doing something in terms of trying to pull away as best he can. Anders Nilsson down to 4th. Of course, he's still scrapping away with Glenn Morris and David Junt. He's pulled away ever so slightly. In fact, that gap is starting to kind of dissipate, although coming sailing up onto the back, and is he ever, John Nossercliffe, as Junt goes to defend up towards the right-hander at Griffin's Bend. And now as they start to head back uphill, they're going to ride across the curbs on the exit as Osserclint. And I want to think that you can see just how much that Osserclint is hustling that big Brutish V8 Mustang alongside the 2-litre inline-4 Sierra with the turbocharged engine. And Osserclint is giving Junt a big hurry up as they come towards the top of the mountain.
There's a big battle here at the moment. Osserclint is having a solid run at the moment. Sousa Ferreira has made a mistake at some point. Remember, he was battling with Anders Nielsen. He's now some 3 seconds back, or he just falls to pace slightly. He's not actually that far off the back. Oh, Morris in the wall. Morris in the wall hard at Sulman Park. Here's a replay. He's been threatening to do this for about 5 laps now. Oh, in the wall hard there. Went back to the other side. In the wall hard there. Yunt down the inside. And goes in the wall hard there. Scrapes against the wall. In the wall hard again. I'm not sure there's much left of that Holden Commodore.
Royal shame, because it's my favourite livery, so Glenn's not exactly doing it much justice at the moment.
No, there's not much paint left on that one, I don't think.
No, there isn't, no. And look at this, he's now going to have under attack from Ferreira and Stenbeck. Next set, he's still getting sideways. He's certainly driving rather extravagantly, putting on a show for the Australian guys. But that'll be quite a fantastic run going forward so far. So we're now looking back now from Scott Servick and the wonderful Mercedes and the DTM livery. Mercedes cars, of course, were racing DTM, but of course there were a couple that raced in the Australian Touring Car Championship. One, of course, piloted by Phil Ward, the livery of which is in this race, the Monroe liveried car in this.
Not to be confused with John Monroe.
No, of course, no. It's a completely different spelling because it's spelled Monroe.
Yeah, but
whereas
with
John Monroe's
your Norwich accent, it sounds exactly the same.
Well, yes, it does because it's technically it sounds the same. Don't confuse me.
It's Monroe and Monroe.
Oh, Monroe. Oh, Monroe. Okay, Monroe. Right, he's happy now. Said it correctly now. Anyway, moving on. Here we've got now, of course,
East Anglia inbreds. Yes, this is the car we're talking about, by the way. Here we are.
There it is. Chris Vickers. I think this is the man who's making his debut.
Just about keeping that on the track there. Yes, this is the Monroe. Is it Monroe? Is it Monroe? It is Monroe. That's right. I'm not going mad just yet. Give me another couple of years.
Yeah, and Tim Straub, of course, was getting very extravagant in practice, at least we saw, and in qualifying with that big Mustang. So he's doing it once again in the race, and having a quiet race in 23rd place. We have only lost still 3 cars in the field. We've lost Lucas Demelin, Peter Hennenberg, and Peter.
That looks like that won't be in the showroom on Monday.
Ah, yeah.
You know the old phrase, race the car on Sunday, sell it on Monday?
Just what I was thinking.
That's not the car that's going to be sold.
No, that car's not getting sold on Monday. That's if it is getting sold, it's getting sold to a scrap heap.
Yes, it is.
In any case, this is now, I think that's that Ethan Bass trying to get up the inside in his Skyline. So not having the greatest of runs back in 26, but he will be side by side.
He's been having a good run so far this season, and the track suits him. So something must have really bad happened to Ethan Bass actually, to be 85 seconds behind after 13 laps in a car that's leading the race. I mean, Ethan's not on the level, of course, of Adrian Holm, but he's not that bad a driver, so something bad has happened to him. Tomasz Demelin is still going in the Toyota Supra. The only Toyota Supra in the race, in fact, actually. No Gary Lennon today. Not quite sure why. It's not like him to miss. And we've also got a very battered and bruised Alfa Romeo of Tony Matthews. So Andy Bernard and Tony Matthews, both good friends, have been involved in humongous accidents, looks like to me. And we've got a great battle here between Matt Richards and Michael Helen. We said all day long, oh hello, we've got Robert Wiesenmuller in the pits, and is that Chris? That's Reece Gardner in the pits as well. So these guys are doing 2 stops. That's the 2-stop strategy right there. I didn't expect to see any 2-stop strategies, but we are seeing a couple. But Matt Richards and Michael Helen are in a battle here. As we said, it might happen. Mikhail is just picking up the positions, nice and solid, cruising along nicely in his cruise ship, as he likes to call it, the big, long bonnet of that BMW 635, and he's got the little snarling gnat in behind him, probably annoying him at the moment in Matty Orban, and then you've got the fridge ahead of him with Matt Richards, or the grocery getter, depending on who you are.
Where are these names coming from? We've got ship, fridge, grocery getter. Where is this all coming from? It's
this is the culture of TPS. You know, this is the vast culture, the rich tapestry. The more words, please, Scott.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, but
that was very mean.
I'm not sure what to say to that because I've never heard you use those terms before. It's kind of just it's all new to me and random. But I know the Volvo's big and bulky, but it doesn't be that mean.
It does look like a fridge, to be fair.
Yeah, but
it's very square.
Yeah, but, Tony Matthews, what are you doing to that Alpha? Goodness me, back in the wall. Do you know what? It's actually it's been a poor run for the cars from Milan because we had Minar's cars after the race.
Milan. Who are you, Posh Spice?
I think as it is, that one. Goodness sake. Matthews gets quite sideways, and of course Helen now under attack from Matty Orban. And again, Matt Richards getting a little bit sideways again.
Sorry, finish your point about the cars from Milan.
No, the cars from Milan, the Alphas, they have not had a fantastic race on this occasion because, of course, Minar went out of the race earlier, of course, and now we've had both Andy Bernard and Tony Matthews not exactly keeping them in pristine condition. And unfortunately, because of that,
it must be second hand as well because he's way back in 27th.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes, not going well for the Alfa Romeos. Yeah. Unfortunately, and Tim Straub is out of the race. There you can go. Suspension damage is out of the race. We saw him being very leery and it's not surprising to see him out of race. And into the pits comes Matt Richards. He's on the two-stop strategy as well. Unsurprisingly, Michael Helen going for the long-run, mature, as he likes to call it, one-stop strategy. And so Matt Richards into the pits. We see Matt Richards, Robert Wiesenmuller, and Reece Gardiner all pit on a two-stop strategy. So Michael Helen now carries on, and as Nielsen, he's the pits. No, he's not. He's just passing Matt Richards in the pits, and Matt is still sat in the pits. And has he turned? He's got a 12.1 second stop. That's okay. Wants to refuel that a little bit slow than he would expect. So we've got a nice fast pit lane here as well. 130 kilometers an hour you can go in there, so 80 miles an hour. So it looks like they're going very fast. They are, because back in the days, of course, it wasn't. There was no speed limiters, so we can't have complete carnage in there. So we decided to limit it to 80 miles an hour. Of course, these days it's just 40 kilometers an hour through pit lanes. If you have to make an extra pit stop in real life at Bathurst or in any V8 supercar race, it really is an arduous process. But here we're a bit more lax, allow a bit more strategy.
One thing that surprised me is I didn't realise that 1980 pit stops took that quick. Only took that less of a time, because that was a 12-second pit stop, and I'm pretty sure that pit stops back in the 1980s with these cars took a lot longer than that. I would have thought.
Well, what we've done is we've taken the 1980s pit crew and we've sacked them and replaced them with an actual pit crew. So that's what we've done.
I take it that pit crew is actually invisible because we can't see them.
Yeah, that's how good they are.
I see. Right. Okay.
Any other questions?
It's a futuristic picture, is it? With like invisibility cloaking and things like that, is it? Oh, and huge silence for Kjell Stenbeck!
Not futuristic. It's Kjell Stenbeck there hitting the wall. That is something that's happened a lot in the history of time, and will continue to happen in the history of time. So it is futuristic and retro.
Yes, and he's unfortunately done what we can call a Toby Davis. He's actually lost down at the S's, and here's the replay, and he catches the bump in the middle of the first part of that S's section.
That's not a good hit.
Just noses it into the barrier. That's going to cause some substantial damage, at least to the right front of that BMW. And it wouldn't surprise if he heads straight towards pit lane to have the mechanics hammer that one out. So he's going to make his way, I would have thought, down one straight hammers. And turning his way to... Yes, with the invisible hammers and the invisible...
sorry to interrupt, but Matteo Ban and Michael Helen are battling. Oh, this is fantastic. Matteo Ban was shadowing Michael Helen the entire race, and now he's had a go. He's gone down the inside. Michael Helen's come back down at the inside on the straight. Oh, look at that for a move from Matteo Ban. A great outbreaking move. Chops off the front of Michael Helen and carries on. Not on your life, bucko. And he keeps that position. But will he keep the position down the straight? He needs to go to the inside, go to the inside, Matteo, go to the inside. He's not doing it. He's going to be passed.
I think you have to accept, Ryan, he's not listening to you. I think he wants to take his line, and he will take it. So Helen back up inside, but it's almost having none of it. Round back down the outside in the Marlboro BMW. A little bit of a stutter on our screen there, but it's come back again, and they are still side by side. They run towards the cutting. Helen now slots back inside, thinks better of discretion's the better part of valor. Sits back for a moment and thinks, right, where can I plan my next attack here? I suspect he may try it up on the run, but here's another replay watching this as they come back on the exit. We're going all the way back to the move that was happening right here. And look at this remove, an outbreaking move. This is how good the BMW was under brakes, with the lighter weight, the agility that it has, just to sweep around the outside and says, yep, cheers for that, Mikhail, I'll take that place any day. And look at the advantage already that Orban pulls out, thanks to the better handling on that BMW. He pulls away, but of course, wait until we get to Conrad Straight, then we'll see the 635 start to reel the M3 back in on the straights with its much bigger capacity engine and more horsepower. Stenbeck, as we predicted, is in the pits. He's made his pit stop. He's repaired that car as best as they can.
Pit stop as well.
Yeah, of course.
Long pit stop, so he's going to go over a lap down, I'm pretty sure. Look here. Oh, Junt's out of the race as well. David Junt out of the race. So we saw him have that incident with Matt Richards. At some point, he's got into an accident with somebody, or got frustrated and made a big mistake, and he's out of the race. And that will be our 5th retirement from the 31 drivers.
Really unfortunate for David Junt. No more. The last we'll see of the Texaco Sierra, one of the legendary Group A cars from the era, as we continue to watch the battle between Orban and the JPS BMW of the man in that being, which is, of course, Michael Helen. I almost forgot his name there for a second. Of course, yeah, of course.
He's got deep as Matteo Ban as well. Oh, he might be under threat here as a result. He might be under threat here because Mikhail will gain along this straight a little bit. Always got to go. No, Mikhail, not here. There we go. That's it. Tuck back in and now get the run down the straight. That's what we want to do. Sensible driving there from Mikhail. He's got the power down the straight. He's got an extra 30 brake horsepower or so, but he does weigh quite a bit more. But of course, once you get up to speed, it doesn't really matter quite so much. And he's powering past the little M3. M3 got 6 gears. The A65 has 5 gears. And the 635 CSI is through into the 11th spot and does not stand for crime scene investigation. Back to the front of the field, let's actually give some coverage to our leader, shall we, Scott? Because he's been absolutely serene so far, just pulling away from Toby Davis lap after lap by a few tenths of a second.
Yeah, this is routine driving for Adrian Holm. Of course, he is starting just to ever so slightly extend his gap lap by lap and just looking to almost try and cruise his way to the VTM Classic title, of course, as he makes his way back up towards the chase for the 17th time of asking. He dips the wheel onto that outside tarmac just to help give the car the leverage it needs to swing through the right-hander and just riding the curbs as best he can. As a lovely, clean, smooth run towards completing another lap. So Adrian Holm, of course, looking to run the one-stop strategy. Toby Davis almost 10 seconds back. Here he is. But he's actually coming under threat now from the second of the Nissans in the running, which is Ross McGregor. And Toby Davis can't be taking liberties like that on the exit of the chase by running that wide. And Ross McGregor, I'm pretty sure, will be thinking, just biding his time, just thinking, I know exactly what Toby's record at round Bathurst is like. I'm just going to sit here and wait here, thinks if he slips up. Then again, Toby will know that, and of course he'll be thinking, look, I've had 3 bad races here in these VTM cars. I'm not going to make it 4 this time. Second place is where he looks like he's, unless something drastic happens to Adrian Holm, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on anyone at all, just a disclaimer. Toby Davis, of course, is looks like he might resign.
Disclaimers don't work like that. The commentator's curse has no disclaimers involved. It ignores the disclaimers.
Well, they do with me. Now, but
oh, I see.
But yes, on that side of things. Anyway, moving forward to that one. To Ross McGregor, you see Toby Davis riding the curbs on the exit of the Griffin's Bend and that back up towards the cutting. And Ross McGregor now putting him under immense pressure. He just clipped the wall under braking there. That might put him out of the line. As now Ross McGregor is now all over the tail end of that Caliber Sierra. And I wonder possibly it's a matter of when rather than if Ross McGregor will move up into second place to make it a Nissan 1-2.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I've got. Davis has to pull out quite a big gap now here across the top of the mountain because otherwise the Scanner will eat him for breakfast on the straight. He's tried to do that and he's hit the wall extremely hard. And now McGregor, they're going to make a move down the inside there. Decided against it, which was the wise thing to do. And Davis on the grass again. Really does need to get the driving sorted out here because he's going to crash the car otherwise. And then the second spots will be absolutely nothing at all because he'll be out of the race. McGregor now will be stalking Davis, looking for a way past down here. Look at how quick Davis was across down the mountain then though. Look at the gap he's pulled out. There really is fantastic bit of driving there down the mountain. He put it off, he obviously crashed into the wall at Mick on the entry and went off the track on the exit of Mick. And but down the mountain there, that was absolutely phenomenal driving. He managed to pull out enough of a gap, despite McGregor being right behind him, to be able to hold the Skyline off down this straight. Look. Oh, I spoke too soon. Not quite enough for McGregor to go through, but that was absolutely crucial that Davis was that quick down the mountain then. Otherwise, the second spot would no longer be his.
Much superior on the brakes. Glenn Morris has taken a trip to pit lane with another lengthy stop, so he's had to repair the damage after his several trips into the wall, which is rather unfortunate. But back under brakes again as Davis now continues to use the handling advantage to his advantage to hold off the advance of Ross McGregor. Looking back now once again from the blue and white Caliber Sierra. And looking at Ross McGregor in the Works livery, the Australian team Works livery. That was the car that was run by Gibson Motorsport in some ways. And going forwards, see how this one works. So back up the straight they go once again. McGregor will start to close in.
From the Sierra, the initial bite off the corner is much better than this Skyline. It's a lighter car and it has much better torque.
And the turbo.
Has much better torque in the right places, at least, anyway. And also the power comes in lower down the scale. So off the corner, the Sierra is much better than the Skyline. But of course, once you get going on the straights, the Skyline then eats it up again. So those are the differing differences between the two cars. There are the different attributes between the cars, and that's what makes VTM so special. As Kel Stenbeck there, Shelsenbeck just gets out of the way. Now it looks like Klaus Nauri is about to catch Chris Butcher here. And Klaus Nauri is actually apparently in front of Chris. Oh, here we are. That's why. I couldn't quite see where Klaus Nauri was there just for a second, because actually on our right-hand side, I thought that was Klaus Nauri in behind, but that's of course the other red Skyline of Rob Taplin. So Naring right in behind Chris Butcher as he continues his recovery through the field.
And this is a grand drive, of course, after the mistakes he made earlier on. And Krasnieri looking to try and prove a point in this final race of the season. So he's now all over the back, and it's pretty much a carbon copy of the Davis-McGregor fight up in second and third place. So I wonder just how prominent this is going to be as we see. But looking back now, of course, from the Labatt Sierra, car that was piloted by the likes of Tim Harvey and Lawrence Bristow back in the BTCC back in the last parts of the Group A days. As they head back down the mountain once again, cascading through. And look at also in the background, we've got is that Rob Taplin as well in the. It is Rob Taplin in the Winfield Skyline as well, doing a grand job in ninth place, sliding around in that machine as they all are going down towards the complex and into Forest Delbert. Now on board with Taplin as he turns his way through Forest Delbert, watching his car wobble around on the exit.
That's called using all of the track.
And more of it.
Yeah, it was. I don't think you could use any more, could it? That was absolutely incredible. Just been inches away from that wall just there.
Yeah, there's taking liberties, and then there's that, I think, in some cases.
Yeah,
down onto the brakes once again. Oh, and Taplin's going to get it stopped!
Oh, it was going straight into
We just
managed to get that stop. I watched that on the replay. That was scary stuff. So it comes down the chase. They did absolutely nothing. It's really, really fast, of course, but you're absolutely doing absolutely nothing. You're just clicking away the gears and preparing yourself for this corner here. It was absolutely incredibly fast, and he did just clip the grass there. I thought he did, and he just got it stopped him down. That was good driving, not to spear straight into the back of Klaus Naring there, and it allows Klaus Naring to continue with his race. You don't want to get T-bone again, Klaus Naring.
The one thing I'm wondering is whether or not it's if Rob Taplin's car has any brakes, the poor thing, because he's probably just taken the whole life out of them, and probably he's got some substantial brake fade now. He's probably overheated them to high hell and that kind of thing. So Toby Davis now holding on as best he can in second place, with Ross McGregor still all over the back of him going forwards. And
the Michael Helen Matt Orban fight is still not resolved, but it is now Michael Helen again ahead of Matt Orban. It's 0.8 of a second ahead now, so considering how close they've been lately, that's quite a comfortable gap for Michael Helen.
Yep, using the straight line advantage again as once more you see just Toby Davis getting very sideways and crossed up on the complex. Scott Sobek has made a pit stop. His machine as he heads now down the pit lane and exiting at 10.2 seconds. So it is now getting that stop window for the leaders, of course, looking to try and grab their one-stop strategy. You'd expect them to start coming in between now and I thought roughly around lap 23 or so, I'd imagine. So it wouldn't surprise if we get to the likes of Holman, Davis and McGregor to fight through once again. I think the highest man that's made a pit stop, if I'm correct, is going to be Robert Wiesenmuller, I think, in 6th position.
It is indeed. The other two drivers apart from Robert on two strategies that we saw at least anyway were Reece Gardner and Matt Richards. And Ross McGregor's going for the undercut. Here he goes. Straight in he comes. So he's going for the undercut, which means that he's going to try and get one lap on fresh tyres and get ahead of Toby Davis that way, while Toby Davis is still lapping on older tyres.
So he will now find his box, and this will now allow Eric Tveit, who is also into pit lane as well in the Volvo. And look at how rapidly he's shooting in. He looks like he wants to kind of get on with it. Very crossed.
That was perfect in the end. What are you talking about? Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here.
I think he's in a hurry, as we now see we've got the two skylines again. It looks like we see Ross McGregor is going to come out literally right in front of these two. As we see here, this is going to make it a very intriguing three-way scrap for third position. So McGregor, Wiesenmuller and Moreau will almost be nose to tail. Of course, Moreau, we believe, hasn't stopped. Wiesenmuller is on fresher tyres. Of course, he's got one more stop to make because he, along with the likes of Reece Gardner, are on the two-stop strategy. And Matt Richards. And that repair skyline all over the place under braking towards Griffin's Bend. Now towards the cutting they go, and Wiesenmuller just holding his advantage. Now on board with Klaus Naring, who's then looking to the outside of Butcher into Griffin's Bend. He looks to sweep around the outside. Butcher will hold the inside line. Well, it almost has, because look at that, they're going to get past Demelin, and Klaus Naring's going to try and make it switch, but does a nice little move to slot back in behind Butcher. He realises that, again, discretion is the better part of valour. He will sit where he is for the moment and will wait until he gets to the back straight.
Scott, sorry to interrupt, but that was absolutely fantastic racing from two excellent drivers there. Look how close they are the entire time. They go sideways through a corner that has no camber on the outside, has camber on the inside. Now he manages to hold it. Butcher there is on the inside there. He has Demon on his outside. He can't take the ideal racing line, but he takes the corner there, but doesn't squeeze Naring so much that they both end up in the wall. That's a fantastic driving from two top drivers, because you see so many times in those situations, there's contact, somebody spins, or somebody gets a position through contact. In that case, no contact was made at any point whatsoever, and everyone comes out smiling.
Well, these two certainly will be. I wonder how much Chris Butcher will be smiling if Klaus Nearing does eventually get back past them, because, of course, now this is the part of the circuit, of course, where we see the strength of the Skyline, the power advantage and the straight line speed, but it carries onto the straight. And, of course, now he'll be starting to close in. He'll have the toe in front from the Sierra with that huge whale tail on the back, cutting that huge hole in the air. And here he comes. Here comes Nissan, the red and white machine coming towards the inside. If he does, he's not going to make a move just yet into the chase. He knows that's good. That would be too foolish. He's not going to make a dive into the chase. He may try and make a move there. As we see, Adrian Holm has finally made a pit stop, as has Toby Davis. He's now, of course, pointing to exiting the pit box as well. He's keen to get out as quick as he can. There goes both Nearing and also Visi Muller. Monroe appears to have pitted as well, because he hasn't come through on the pit straight. And Davis
gone past
exits.
both of them. Both of them gone past Toby Davis here. So Visi Muller and McGregor have gone past Toby Davis. That undercut has worked beautifully with Ross McGregor.
But of course, I don't think Davis will be too worried about Reasonable, because of course he'll probably, unless he knows anything, he'll probably know that he's got to stop again. So really, the only person at the moment is the moment in time.
Remember, he was stuck behind him for 8 laps earlier in this race.
Very true, but even so, it'll be kind of looking at when his next pit stop will be. It's roughly going to be about roughly around maybe lap in another kind of 4-5 laps time, maybe 6 laps time or so, I would have thought. So, I mean, effectively, he's got to try and dispatch the best he can, but of course, in a Nissan, that's not with Vismiller, Nissan, and Toby in the Ford. He's going to have to try and get it done now and hope that he can hold him off on the straights, because the longer he stays behind here, the more advantage it's going to give to Ross McGregor to try and get through. As you can see how hard Davis is pushing. There goes to the inside of McPhillamy. That's a daring move. And beautiful stuff from Toby Davis. He had to make that move. That was crucial. He got that move done pretty quickly. He knew he had to get it done because he was faced several laps stuck behind Visi Muller. Got it done straight away. He now has track position. He can now start to try and close back in on Ross McGregor. He's got a 3-second gap to try and close in. Let's see what he can do.
So I'm not sure what's happened here to Klaus Naring. I think he's made another mistake, Scott, because he's now back in behind Reece Gardner.
Oh dear.
unless that, but he can't have made a pit stop and fallen back in behind, because Chris Butcher is back in 9th spot, having made a pit stop, and Monroe is there in 8th. I'm totally confused. What's happened? I think Klaus Naring has spun at some point. Maybe Chris Butcher went into the pits and they had a coming together when he was going to the pits, or something's happened down at the chase, I'm pretty sure, with to Klaus Naring, because he should not be back in behind Reece Gardner. If he's back in behind Reece Gardner because of a pit stop, he should be. Chris Butcher should be there as well. And that's not happened. I know Chris has definitely been into the pits, because we saw the blank timing thing. And Ross McGregor, fastest lap of the race, 15.487. Have that, Adrian Holm, he says. Adrian Holm's race is not run yet. 7.2 seconds. He's taken 0.8 of a second out of him on that lap, Scott. And now into the pit. So yes, Naring has spun at some point, and now he's going to drop back in behind Chris Butcher once again.
You see, when you thought enough is enough, I've got to try and get a pit stop out of the way and try and salvage something from this race. So he will come in for his one and only stop. He'll drop down, I would have thought, behind Butcher and possibly behind Matt Richards as well. So he might possibly come out in 10th.
I think he'll be okay with past Richards, because the pit stop's quite short, and the pit lane's quite, even though it's a long pit lane, this particular straight itself isn't, mega quick. But Naring is now coming out the pits here now then, and I think Matt Richards is just approaching the final cut. There we are. So he should be okay. Unless he spins it coming out the pits or something. He's not going to do that. And straight out the pits he comes. And Matt Richards is just crossing the line now. So, Naring in 9th spot. Richards there in 10th. Remember, he was battling Mikael Helen. But Richards still has to make another pit stop, remember. So, Mikael Helen is looking good here to take that 10th spot from Matt Richards, because he's only 10 seconds behind him. And he has to make, doesn't have to make a pit stop.
Yeah, that said.
But of course, the pit stop takes about 15 seconds, and Matt will have better tyres end of the race, so it's going to be fascinating, that end of the race. Look out for that.
And of course, he's got the annoying little fly in the ointment that is Matty Allband around him all the time in the BMW, in the M3, causing several headaches. Not that that's a bad thing, of course, because it means more entertainment. We have lost also 2 more cars. We've lost Ethan Bast and also Kjell Stenbeck, who put it into the wall at the Davis S's earlier on. So we've now lost 7 cars in the field. We're down to 24 out of the 31 cars that started. We have the whole field has been lapped. I see from 17th down to 24th.
Well, you never know because it's that if Adrian Holm reaches the next timing line before somebody else reaches their next timing line, it counts as a lap down, but it's not actually a lap down.
Yes,
so we'll try and see actually if anybody is just ahead of Adrian Holm here. If we get a nice long shot at some point, and there's nobody there. It's actually completely alone on the track at the moment, apart from that Ross McGregor little speck in the distance there, that annoying little speck that's just taken a second out of him in the final sector. 6.1 seconds is the gap. That's absolutely incredible. Ross McGregor is on a tear. I know he's had engineering support from Chris Hack, and Chris will be massively encouraging him at the moment. Robert Wiesenmuller's gone past Toby Davis once again, by the way, so Toby's made a mistake somewhere, or just been passed on the straight as a result of Wiesenmuller's power. But McGregor and Holm, this is the story of the race. Can McGregor win his second race in a row of the VTM at Bathurst? He won here in Season 5.
Now it's pretty much game on, and that's what Ross McGregor is saying. You want this championship easy, you're going to have to fight. You have to earn it the hard way and grab the victory with me to deal with. So Ross McGregor, let's look at this. We'll have to check the gaps at each of the sectors to see exactly how quickly he's closing in. Ross McGregor with the fastest car in the field, it appears so far. Across the top, across at Reed Park.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same car, of course,
the first sector there, yeah. So no change. So that's good. It's good for McGregor. He's keeping that speed up at the moment because Holm has been the fastest guy throughout the 2 weeks of practice and pre-practice and qualifying and the race so far. So McGregor is on a bit of a tear here. He's getting stronger and stronger as the race goes on, and that is really how he always is. He always gets stronger as the race goes towards its conclusion.
Don't praise him too much, he'll put it in the wall.
Yes, let's not do that too. Let's move away. Let's watch this. McGregor, sorry,
Wiesenmuller.
And Davis at the wall. Wiesenmuller sideways, twitching everywhere, just about getting the car into the corner at Forrest's elbow. These cars are an absolute... Davis as well. He clipped the wall hard there on the exit.
Davis pushing again, and I think he's probably just going out there to race what he can and doesn't particularly care, I don't think, too much what happens to the car to a certain extent, because if he did...
Never have to use it again.
Well, there you go, yeah. And it does kind of make me wonder how these guys have found the trick with the Nissan. I'm not whether it's just his favourite car in general, but I'm quite intrigued to see what made Davis stick with the Sierra all this time, because if he saw that the Nissans were much quicker, then...
Well, it is a very strong car, and now there has been a bit of debate about this. And if you think, and if you just break it down into the tracks that were in this season, so we went to Spa. Spa was a very even track. Both cars were very similar there in terms of lap times. We went to Suzuka. Skyline was on top. We then, of course, went to Bathurst Park. Bathurst Park, the Sierra was on top in round 3. So that's 2 races there with Sierras on top. We then went to Laguna Seca, Sierra on top. Then went to Pukekohe Park, of course, the Skyline back on top. Skyline once again on top at Salzburg Ring over the Sierra. However, then we go to Brands Hatch and Trois Rivières. The Sierra is the best car for both of those tracks. So it's 2 more for the Sierra. And then we come here, and again, of course, the Skyline is better than the Sierra. So actually, it's 4 all in the season, and 1 where they're both exactly the same, pretty much, over the entire lap. So it's been a fascinating battle. Even though we've seen plenty of Skylines up there, fighting for wins, and what's happened is that the fast drivers have just picked the Skylines. These are the drivers that would be at the top of the field anyway, whether they were in a Mustang or a 635 or whatever. These are the drivers who win races anyway. You've got John Munro, you've got Ross McGregor, Robert Wiesenmuller, Adrian Holm. These are all drivers who win races. I have Klaus Naring, who's a perennial top 5 runner in Virtual Mini Challenge as well, one of the most competitive series. You'll remember that back in Season 2, it was a Volvo won this championship in the hands of Peter Davilar. So, even though there's been a bit of debate about, the Skyline is too quick, it's really just not the case at all. The Sierra has had just as many tracks where it's been the quicker car than the Skyline's had. And also, the Sierra has been quicker in 2 of the sprint rounds over 1 of the sprint rounds for the Skyline. And now the significance of that is, of course, that sprint rounds have 2 races. So that's 4 races to 2. So an extra couple of races there, actually, where the Sierra is quicker. But of course, the trade-off, of course, is that this track has more points involved. Tony Matthews off the track there, just on the inside. This track and this event has more points on offer, and the Sierra. Oh, the Skyline! And that's not the way you drive a Sierra, and that's why Toby Davis did not win this championship, because he makes mistakes like that, unfortunately. And that has been the story of the championship for this. He's had the fastest car at Laguna Seca, Vitus Park, Transaction Trois Rivières, and he only won one of those races.
Yeah, it is a major shame. And of course, the Sierra itself in general is probably one of the most, pretty much the most iconic car of the Group A days. It was in its day, looking at it along with the BMW M3, one of those cars that it was the one that everyone had to have. Of course, the one that kind of was very dominant. Of course, you saw it in many championships. If you weren't in, for the most part, if you weren't in a Sierra, then you were at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And you saw I think that's probably one of the reasons why Group A kind of faded out, because the cost, and also the fact that effectively there's only really one car that's worth having, and it was the Sierra, and hardly anyone could build a car that was, kind of there to match it. Now, of course, we had the Skyline come along. Then we had the Skyline come along, and the Skyline was the car that sadly killed off Group A, because it was four-wheel drive, turbocharged. I mean, the Australian cars were producing some 630 horsepower on tap on request, which is absolutely crazy. It's Davis again getting sideways across the top of Reed Park, and his back through the long several left-handers, and across the curbs as well. Davis is taking liberties with this circuit when he really shouldn't be. Of course, even though he realises that the championship is pretty much out of his hands, he can't win it. This is not the proper way to go about it by pushing as hard as he is. He needs to be very, very careful to at least grab some points to end on a high, at least get the car to finish, because he does not want memories of Bathurst in this car to end on a low once again. Of course, he's going to have to also contend the fact that Eric de Veit is closing in the Rover. There he is in the background, the Demon Tweaks car, the black and red Rover SD1 in the background, as again Davis gets sideways and just clips the barrier on the exit. But you can see now, watching as they come down the back straight at Conrod, you can see Vincent Miller pulling away, just pulling that gap, and it must be a little bit disheartening for Davis to be finding that much of a disadvantage straight line wise. And what will also intrigue me as well is that just how much de Veit will close in himself, because the gap between the two of them is less than 2 seconds. It's 1.7 to be 1.5 seconds to be exact. And how much it'll be as they come across the line this time is one to watch, because if de Veit is charging at this point in time, then he is going to be definitely somebody who will take full advantage of that. And also, I believe I'm correct that possibly does that no? I think de Veit's tyres are going to go a lap older, I think, because he pitted just before Davis did.
That's quite possible, yeah. I mean, just to go back to the subject of Group A and the regulations that went into it. It was a gloriously simple formula. It really was, and it's such a shame, that it's open to exploitation, and unfortunately, open rules mean massive cost these days. Unfortunately, that's why you have such tight formulas these days, where the cars all look the same and they all perform the same, because otherwise the costs spiral. And in Group A, the formula was this: your engine capacity, regulated, how wide your tyres were, and how heavy your car was. That was literally it. It's a beautifully simple formula. Unfortunately, in the early part of the show, they didn't give enough of a... For example, if you had a turbocharger, they then had to multiply the engine capacity. So when the regulations first came out, if you had a 2-litre turbo engine, it counted as a 2.8 naturally aspirated engine in terms of determining your weight. And that changed to 1.7 in 1987, I think it was. That still wasn't enough, unfortunately. It only made it a 3.4-litre engine. And of course, some companies got a huge amount of power at their cars. Other companies, and Davis at the best. And he's held on to it. Absolutely incredible.
How
incredible. How
on earth is he doing this? This is ridiculous. Look at this again. This is almost practically a carbon copy of what happened a couple of years ago, the infamous Davis incident. It's almost exactly the same. Sideways, it looks like he's on a collision course with the wall, but on this occasion he does just enough again to anchor it up, pull the front of the car around, and I mean just, keep it off the wall. I think he was probably inches away. Look at how close he gets. That is as close as you want against the barrier. That's almost like the width of a cigarette paper. That's incredibly going to be close there. That defies belief. And now look at Eric de Veit. He's now going to be all over the back of Toby Davis. And I don't think Davis's head is in it today. I think his head is elsewhere, thinking about something else, because he knows the championship is not there. He's out there just to try and race and see what he can do. But this is not what Toby Davis we know and have seen before.
He does dislike this track very much.
I can't think why.
But But Adrian Hummels has 5.2 second gap still on Ross McGregor. Ross is shadowing, Hummels back into the 15.6s, and McGregor is shadowing him on those. So if Hull makes a small mistake at any point, McGregor is just gaining time hand over fist. We've got 13 laps to go. 5.2 seconds is the gap for Ross McGregor. We'll keep an eye on that. That'll be a fascinating battle towards the end. But quickly on the Group A, as we see Tveit now attacking Davis still. The multiplier went up to 1.7. So, for example, if you had a 2-litre engine, it counted as a 3.4 in terms of determining your weight. But the problem was, for example, this Sierra here ended up with 550 brake horsepower from a 2-litre turbo engine, which counted as a 3.4, of course. Now, the Supra ended up having a 3-litre turbo engine. You thought, oh yeah, 3-litre turbo engine, wow, it must have got like 700 brake horsepower of that or something. No, they didn't. They got 370 brake horsepower out of it, and it was a 3-litre turbo engine. So that was actually, if you times that by 1.7, what is that? That's 5.1 litre it counts as. So it ended up being a 5.1 litre in terms of determining its weight, and it had almost 200 brake horsepower less than the Sierra. It was absolutely incredible. The reason Group A died in the end was not just the spiralling cost, because some companies were just rubbish at getting power out of the engines. So it ended up being that the people who could get great power out of the engines won out. People like Eggenberger and Annulos, and the amazing design that Cosworth had put in this particular turbo that allowed it to get such extortionate amounts of power.
It is quite a feat of engineering how an engine as small as a 2-litre was able to produce, as you said, incredible amounts of horsepower.
And
I think
especially,
it was also...
think about it, 1980s this is not, to 2010, 2015 technology. Added to Tveit, wants to move around the outside,
wow.
sweeps around the outside, holds the inside of the next corner, and to Tveit through to fourth. Great move.
That was beautiful. Oops, and Davis didn't like that at all. Look at that, he's now just kind of getting a bit frustrated there.
Oh, Wiesel into the pits. Wiesel into the pits. That was a bit of a drama, that was. That was a bit of a drama. Let's go back and watch down the replay, because watch this. Oh, that's the wrong camera. There we go. He's going to go into the pits here, Scott. And look, Vickers is going to let him past. He goes, oh, go past, go past. Oh, no, he's in the pits. Oh. I think Wiesel might have a bit of a laundry list after this race.
That's a different kind of skid mark. Now, in that
oh dear!
Sorry, you threw it.
I did it. I threw you a bone, but you didn't need to pick it up and make it that. Oh, that's just.
You threw it up. I had to hit it. It's just in a case like that. But anyway, apologies, viewers, on that one. Apologies. But not to lower the tone anymore. Meanwhile, this daring duo, Klaus Nieri and Chris Butcher, still battling away. And actually, Chris Butcher doing a grand effort to keep with Chris Butcher. It looks like that after what's happened with the pit stops, these two still nose to tail as we now head towards the 75% mark of this race. Of course, I'm on lap 29 of 40. Or was it 41? I forget this. Is it 40 or 41?
41.
41. Okay, so we're almost at 3/4 distance. And
sorry.
And Butcher getting very sideways across the curb, practicing his best drifting skills on that one. As we see nearing under brakes as it's a very tricky corner going into cutting. It's uphill braking zone, but also you have to almost kind of trail brake through the corner and turn and brake at the same time. So if you've got a car that's more rear biased on brake or very kind of less heavy, nearing huge impact!
What was that? Klaus Nieri! How is that car still going? Where did that come from, Scott?
I've no idea. Let's take a look at the replay and just... is it pure understeer? Does he get sideways? I have to take a look at this. He goes up towards the top of Reed Park, turns in. He clipped the inside barrier. And that just sends him straight into the outside retaining wall, and through he goes again. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to cause a trip to the pits, because and somebody's lost a bumper or a marker somewhere on the entrance of the...
It might have been one of the Alfa Romeos.
Possibly, in some cases. But we see here at the front, back in the battle between Hull and McGregor. McGregor still continuing to close, and once again we see Davis and Tveit side by side for third place. And Davis is back through past the Rover, so after that fantastic move, and look at that, Davis parked his car almost on the apex. Tveit trying to turn and said, "What are you doing, Toby? Give me some room to actually turn in." And eventually he did. So back down to fourth position goes the Rover. And I wonder, for the last 11 laps or so, this is going to be a battle that could go all the way to the flag, although Davis getting a bit sideways. He has been very leery this race, which I think is not typical Toby. I think we know it's not a circuit that he's a fan of.
Not typical Toby. Have you watched him at all this season? Oh, no. No, he's always very, very, very leery, actually. In fact, as Toby. That's not unusual in the sliders. It's actually how he drives the car. It's how he makes it go fast. He actually makes it understeer, so it saves the front tyres, and then just uses the rear to turn the car. What's a pass there from Eric to Veit, and still on the outside. Unbelievable! I didn't think there's room on the outside there for Toby Davis to be, and Davis is of course there and sweeps back through once again.
This is a great scrap for the final podium place. I think it's making up the fact that if Davis is not going to win the championship, he'll at least go out with a bang, hopefully not into the barriers, but again, that's hopefully not going to happen as they head back across the top of the mountain once again.
Oh, he said it. He said, go out with a bang. That was not good phraseology there. That was just that really is commentating curse. That's just tempting commentating curse. That is.
And again, Tveit back up into the McPhilly, but he's a daring boy as Eric Tveit back up the inside again, and beyond the Wooten pulls of another stunning pass to reclaim third place. These two going at it hammer and tongs all the way across up the top of the mountain and back down it once again through the S's of a dipper. Davis took a bit too much curb on the entry towards the exit of the S's there, which then put him slightly offline from the dipper. But then back in towards Forest Elbow, big lock up entering the downhill section for Forest Elbow. Very tricky braking zone here because again, you're almost braking and turning over a crest, which means the car's very light, very prone to getting sideways and locking the rears and almost looping around on you. As we've seen with a couple of guys almost lose it completely. A la Visa Muller and also Matt Richards and also Toby Davis. Matt Richards actually has been off somewhere, it looks like, because it's a 41.3 second pit stop, so he's had some dramas at some point.
And so he's obviously had to repair something, all forgotten to turn off the repair damage this time around, because remember he was on a 2-stop strategy. Matty Orban and Michael Helen have company back here. Let's quickly check in with these. You've got Rob Taplin for company. And there's Tony Matthews. Not sure what's happened to him. What's happened to Matty Orban? He's a bit further back than I remember him being. So he's struggling a little bit at the moment. Let's go back to that battle, though, actually, because it looked like it was still on, and it is still on. So Veit and Davis. Down the inside going to come Davis now. He's going to have the inside here for Hell Corner. He wants to hold the outside so that Tveit can't get the run off the corner. It's not happened. Tveit will now get the run off the corner. Tveit doesn't quite have the power of the Sierra, but he does have much better drag, thanks to that slippery body shape. And also has a slipstream, of course, as well, which is always a bit of a help.
It is indeed. Tveit looking back towards the outside now as they're going to hit the brakes, and how much more confidence does young Eric Tveit have on the brakes on this Rover SD1, but the Sierra is holding fast at the moment in third position. They're going to charge back up towards the cutting as they head on towards brakes. A very tricky brakes, as we said. Again, Tveit throws it back up the inside. Really, he's not taking any risk. He's taking no liberties whatsoever. He really is just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Toby Davis to get past him.
Are people taking liberties or no liberties, Scott?
I don't know. He's getting so excited. I'm getting my words mixed up. Don't judge me. Anyway, but at any point in that case, it has been a long race already. Tveit going exiting Silman Park now towards McPhillamys, and again they'll charge back up to the top of Brock Skyline. They'll start tip over the top and then just start to descend down this long roller coaster that is the run through the Davis S's and the Dipper. And again, a lot of curbing taken by Davis. He's got much more confidence in the corners thanks to that superior chassis that the Sierra has. Back under the very awkward braking zone of Forest Elbow. You can see Tveit taking a more defensive line through the corner. And Davis tucks left a bit more on the inside, hugs the inside wall through the middle of the corner. They do have a back marker in front to contend with. Here comes Toby Davis using the slipstream and the toe that he can get on the Rover. Pulling along, pulls to the outside. Now they're going to go side by side for the chase. It'll be a brave man if he can. That's the damaged car, I think, of one of the Alphas, and they are going to go side by side. That's a very daring pass if he can pull that one off. And he has to back out for the braking zone, and Tveit holds on in front for the moment at least.
He does, just about. A fantastic racing between these two drivers. They've raced together many times before, and this is great racing for this final podium spot. Davis now back down the inside, shoves it down the inside at Hell Corner. It's a deja vu all over again. Tveit now gets the run off the corner. Now they head towards Hell Corner for the 32nd time. Davis pulls back across, takes the racing line, gets sideways, manages to hit the apex, runs wide, now allowed Tveit to get a run off the corner once again. Now Tveit doesn't quite have the power, though, of the Sierra. He's giving up some 29 brake horsepower to this Sierra as they now head up the straight. Hang on now, head into Griffin's Bend for the 32nd time. And now Tveit on the inside. The brakes are much better on the Rover than the Sierra. And it shows. He goes down the inside. Davis on the outside. Oh, contact. They almost went both in the wall then. Davis runs out around the curb and gives up that position. Tveit back into that third spot. Oh, Davis has a look. Not going to happen there.
This is incredible stuff. This is TPS racing at its best. And like I said, it's a way for us to say goodbye to the European Touring cars. And what a display of driving these two guys are giving us as a proper fond farewell to the Sierra and the Rover and all of its compatriots in the modern. Oh, Tammy's clipping the wall slightly. He might do so again if he's not too careful. Just brushes up against it on the exit of Sullivan Park. Now to the long left-hand of McPhillamy. Watch for the grab on the exit. He goes all over across the gravel and the dirt. But again, keeps it pointing in the right direction. This wonderful wheel arch cam that we see, watching just how much of a roller coaster it is, all the way down the S's with a dipper. How close they brush the wall through each apex. They head back towards Forest Elbow.
This shouldn't be a racetrack, Scott. This is too good to be a racetrack. How on earth have we got away with having this racetrack in this day and age?
The same way you could say how we got away with Monaco, how we got away with the Nordschleife. It's circuits like this we're blessed within motor racing, and it really is one of the best in the world. It's one of my top 5 in the world at least. Along with some very prestigious tracks.
Is absolutely incredible. I don't know who thought of racing here at some point, but they're absolute geniuses.
And what's amazing is that they actually, I think they actually do hill climbing on this on that part of the course in reverse. So they run up it. And so sprinting as Davis back and look up the inside into the chase once again, and Dwight had enough of his car in front to cover the line. But will Davis again throw it back at us? He dummies. Oh, beautiful stuff. He can pull this one off down under brakes. Up the inside of the Rover. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can just about. But right back up the inside. This is sensational race between the pair of them. This is just immense stuff.
Surely one of them's going to have an accident soon because they've been pushing so hard, taking so many different lines. One of them's going to make a mistake soon. They've been at it now for some 5 or 6 laps, Scott, side by side, up this straight, over and over and over again, to trying desperately to get in behind and get the slipstream perfectly timed. Couldn't quite do it. And now he's going to try and get the slipstream here, try and outbrake him at turn 2 once again. Is it going to work? It isn't this time around. You can never tell. Oh, and sideways again. Toby Davis not quite there.
This is mega stuff, and again, it seems to be that Eric Tveit has to throw everything, but he might have to throw the kitchen sink at him in a minute. He's thrown everything else, and still can't make a move stick on this side of things. They're back, they're back once they get back towards, and Davis knows effectively he does well at absorbing pressure at this kind of thing, and he knows how to respond if someone tries to get back past him. He's got enough confidence in the car. He can always try and find a way past. He's using that Sierra's advantage to its full extent. And then now as Tveit again, he's using more and more, getting ever so close through the middle of McPhillamy Park. And now again, back across the top of the mountain, into the Davis S's once more. They start to descend downhill once again. And a great shot from the front bumper of the Rover. A slightly tighter run through the middle of the dipper corner as they caught air. The car is very light on that section. Sideways again from Davis off the exit, down towards Forest Elbow. Can he get this car stopped without getting sideways? Yes, he can. And now,
can he get the car accelerated without getting sideways? No, he can't. And now,
and I think
it may be that Tveit gets a good run here because he's got great straight line speed because of the drag.
Yeah, and I thought for a second that Davis with superior to kind of torque from the turbo would have it for the moment. But again, Tveit has the run, and they're going to go side by side again. Davis using the tarmac on the exit to give him leverage to get round the corner, and he has to let Tveit go. But can Tveit get it stopped? He was very shaky on the brakes, but somehow manages to anchor the Rover up as best he can and gets the move done. But we've seen it now 2 times. Will he make it a hat-trick of moves into the final corner? Will he dummy? He's not close enough this time, and Davis has to sit back. So for the first time in a while, Tveit will lead them across the line.
The first time
in their place. And they're on now to lap number 34 of 41.
And
so still plenty of 7 laps to go.
Look who's looming in the background. That blue Calsonic skyline of John Munro. Davis again down the inside of Hell Corner. Again, they're sideways off a Hell Corner. This time, Tveit has the inside run now. He's absolutely sick of being overtaken on this straight by Toby Davis. He doesn't want this to happen this time around. He's hugging the inside. He's clinging to that white line, making sure Davis cannot take the corner on the inside. Now he's breaking into the corner, trying to make sure he doesn't let Davis get the cut back. That's exactly what Davis has got. Now Tveit should have the inside run now, they're into the cutting. Side by side they go. Through, close to the wall there. Davis goes for the cutback. He's gone for the cutback. There's contact. There's sideways. It's all okay. They sorted it out. Now up the hill they go once again. Davis cuts back inside. He wants to run up the inside now to repack. Not going to work. He tucks back in once again.
Back off the top and Tveit get very shaky. He does clap the curve just a little bit. And look at this. There's Ford and Rover fans must be going absolutely berserk as they head back towards the top of Brock Skyline once again. And John Munro will close in. And what would be ironic if he just sails past these two. One fell move. Davis is across the grass. How can he get it stopped? just endlessly pursuing Savite. They're back under brakes as they charge down the hill once more. And this is just incredible how it's going on lap after lap after lap, and they're still taking. It's literally, it's one of these two heavyweights. It's a fight. They're just taking blow for blow, just punches perpetually to the head, one after the other, between each other. And now, as they turn back into Forest, they're back onto the straight. It's Savite who has the run, but watch Davis now have the toe with the superior torque and power in that turbocharged 2-litre engine that the Ford Sierra has against the V8 of the big Brutish Rover. And again, you can see just in the distance, again, side by side down the Conrad straight towards the chase. Are they going to be side by side again? Who'll come out on front? Is it going to be the Sierra or the Ford? It's going to be, or the Rover. It's going to be the Rover for this moment in time. And Davis again using all the curb and a bit more. And look at how much, this is something I've said so many times, the harder these two fight each other, the easier it is for Munro to gain full advantage and to start taking chunks of time out of them. These two, as entertaining as it is not doing them any favours, because of course they're not closing in on either McGregor or of course leader Adrian Holmes, we've almost forgotten about, because of course he's up there and he's some 6 laps away from securing the title. And even so, again, back into turn number 1. Davis back up the inside and gets the move done. He's into the lead, into third place now, again, for the moment, because once more, down the straight on off the corner, Savite will have the run, have the slipstream, and will he go this time outside or inside? That's the question as they come back up towards the top of the crest, down halfway down Mountain Straight. They're going to plunge down towards the braking zone. Savite will go to the inside to get him under brakes on this occasion. It's going to be last of the late breakers up at the right hand, and they're still side by side, and Savite somehow gets it done, and once again they are still side by side. Davis back up towards in front, towards the braking zone. This is going on forever.
When will it ever stop? I think they'll be glad to see the checkered flag at this rate to resolve this conflict. It's going to go down to the final corner, the way it's going. But John Munro, look at the chunks of time he is biting out of this battle at the moment. He is just a second behind these guys now, but you don't need to look at the time screens to figure that out. You can see them right ahead of us.
Really can. And this is going to be something that's going to be going all, I fit to the end again. They kick up more dust. They kick up more dust to Vite.
Sorted it
Can
out.
you get it stopped? Right. Yes, you can. And that's given Davis a minute bit of breathing space for the moment at least. And you see Savite just using all the space he can on the circuit and a little bit more. And I wonder what kind of a catalyst that John Munro will be in this fight. He's going to make it a 3-way duel for third place. Munro's in with a shout of a podium here to make it a clean sweep for the Nissans. But as you said, I'm pretty sure with the rate they're battling that both Toby and Eric will definitely have a say in the outcome of this scrap between the three of them.
Absolutely, but McGregor's into the pits. What? McGregor is pitting.
Surely it's not a late two-stop. It's not a late two-stop, is it? Or has he made a mistake? I don't think he has.
Has he not put enough fuel in the car or something?
Well,
That's incredible.
He's going to get back out.
This is the second pit stop blunder that Ross McGregor has made in 2 races running.
Well, he'll get back out still in second place, but that's not the main point of that is, even though it's second place.
He was close to the lead of the race.
He was, yeah, and that means effectively in some cases it's game, set and match, and Davis has gone back down to 5th, I was just saying.
Yes, sorry, we'll go back to this battle here, but quickly on McGregor. Remember at Trois Rivières, he was fighting, he was quite close to home for the lead, made a mistake entering the pits, got some damage as a result of that, and cost him 40 seconds. Now, again, he's pitted with 6 laps to go. We're on lap 36 now, just 6 laps to go, he's pitted. I'm not quite sure what the theory is behind that. Maybe the mediums, I don't know, maybe 2 seconds lap quicker at this point or something. I've got no idea.
And what's incredible is look at that, as I predict, in one fell swoop, Munro's taking 5th to 3rd, just like that, and again they're side by side, and look at that, Davis was brave enough, whilst he was lapping the back marker, to stick it around the outside. Because Ben, they'll head back towards the cutting. Will he have the inside line? My RRP is freezing up.
You break up a little bit there, Scott. You break up a little bit there, Scott. So Munro has now got past Toby Davis. Toby is now tracking him right across the top of the mountain. Munro has been able to just cruise in the back of these guys. He looked after his tyres this entire time. He's got a little bit more power than these guys as well. Has gone straight past both of them while they've been battling. And now Davis is agitating on the back of John Munro as they go over the top of the mountain. Now they're going to descend all the way down. Look at this drop. Down the S's they come. Right-hander, left-hander, right-hander. And then we go into a left-hander, then a right-hander, and then a left-hander once again to go onto the longest straight in Australia, one of the longest straights in sim racing, in fact. And now Moreau has the pressure on from Davis, but of course he has the power down the straight. He should pull away now as they come off the corner. As they get halfway down the straight, the skyline starts to show its power.
Yeah, but Davis, of course, will now be able to take full advantage of a toe that he gains from Monroe in front. Of course, Devitt will get the double toe from them, so that's going to be something that might be a great benefit. And under brakes, they stay as they are, and Davis almost locked up completely, losing it under braking for the chase. But now we're heading towards lap number 37 of 41, towards the end of the race, the closing stages, and this is anybody's game. It is Nissan versus Ford versus Rover for the final podium spot. We know it's going to be Nissan 1-2. Will it be a Nissan clean sweep, or will Davis or do I have anything to say about that? Back into hell corner they come once again. Monroe's withstanding all this pressure. He has driven such a brilliant race, and again he's been given the big hurry up from Davis in that number 22 caliber Ford Sierra. Down the straight they go. Monroe will have the straight line advantage as he had. You can see from the back here, just edging away ever so slightly. Tony Matthews in the pits and the Alpha after his dramas all throughout this race. But down into the breakers, and again, look at how much David with a huge lunge up towards Griffin's bed. He cannot make that one move stick. Maybe he can. He's forced Monroe wide, and somehow
Monroe off the apex. He's scared him off the apex. Monroe run round the outside. We will hold on to position. It seems like. So Davis to the wall. Big cloud to the wall. These poor
Davis.
walls.
Yeah, Davis. I'm hoping that hasn't damaged something to do with the steering or anything. Again, throws back inside. Contact. Davis goes around.
That was a stupid.
And Tavite gets collected. Tavite's as well. Tavite's collected as well. And Davis is facing the wrong way.
He's going to punch her. Going to punch her on that right rear. Look. Left rear. Oh,
it could. It has to go from bad to worse for Toby Davis, doesn't it?
That was suicide.
And that was desperate, is what it was.
Really was.
I'm sorry, it was desperate, is what it was.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Really was. Absolutely never going to work. Never going to work. Look, this is not a position to pass. Even if you're even side by side, it's difficult enough. Never mind to outbrake somebody, and he's out of the race.
And Tavite collected him, so that might have caused some damage to the front end.
Allowed Wiesenmuller to go through as well.
And the luckiest man I think out of that was John Monroe. He did sustain some contact. But even so, he got away from that pretty much scot-free. I think he only got clouted on the inside passenger door, I think. But even so,
did well not to spin.
He did very much. And so what this now means, we've now got a Nissan 1, 2, 3, 4 at the head of the field. It's Holm, leading from McGregor, then Monroe, and then Wiesenmuller. But yeah, that's not the memory which David Everson wants to take away from
Bathurst DNF curse strikes again.
It does indeed, unfortunately. Yeah. Is a real shame. Unfortunately, that's not how he wants it to end. And I do believe, in fact,
got him here on the channel. In fact, actually, Scott, if you want to,
we have, yeah.
You want to ask him some questions?
Yeah, Toby. Obviously, not the way in which you wanted your VTM career to end, but I mean, before that, it's a shame because you was having such an enigmatic battle with Eric Tavite, but just not the way you wanted things to end. I'm sure.
No, but I don't care. I've got a massive smile on my face. That was such a good battle with Eric. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And yeah, I've just got a bit over-ambitious with John. I think Eric then collected me, so I've got to apologise to Eric, which I'll do after the race. But yeah, just wanted to say it's been a fantastic championship, and congratulations to Adrian.
And of course, it's not a circuit, is it, Bathurst, that really sits well with you, is it? It's good for battling, but for luck, it doesn't really hold. It does hold. You don't really hold it in good graces, do you?
No, I hate it. I hate the track. As Ryan will tell you, I've had more than a few accidents over the past few years. I'm sure you've been talking about it all through the race, have you?
I don't know. I don't know about any accidents that you've had.
At least I didn't crash at the S's. I nearly did twice.
Yes, we think we caught both of those, to be honest.
I have to admit, I have to ask the question: how on earth did you skim like millimeters from the wall without hitting it with that incident? Where it's almost a carbon copy of one from a couple of years ago.
Yes,
incredibly well to keep it up.
Yeah, skills, mate. To be honest, I'm going to go outside and cool down because I've been wearing I've been wearing a jumper all the way through this race, and I am literally soaked.
So, should you tell me this right? Skills keep it out of the wall.
There, you got it.
But what put you near the wall in the first place?
Orange Fanta bottle cap.
Okay.
You have to remind him, didn't you, Ryan?
Have you thoroughly explained that particular anecdote?
No, because it's absolute poppycock.
It isn't.
So moving on.
It is not.
You are dismissed from the commentary booth. You need to go and cool down.
Right.
Thank you for your attendance this season, and
No worries.
congratulations on your wins as well.
I'll show you my sweat, honestly, right? It's funny.
No, that's that. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And I guess off the back of that, the man we're looking at here, I guess pretty much we can call it. It's official. You are looking at the 2014.
You can't lose a title now. Absolutely
No,
impossible
that's
to lose
it.
a title. If you just parks it and decides not to race anymore.
Yeah, so we can call it. The man you're looking at now is your 2014 Touring Pro Series Virtual Touring Master Classic champion. Adrian Holm has secured it. So whatever happens now, that's it. It's sorted. He cannot be touched. He is the man who has taken the championship. And to be fair, he has driven a stellar season all the way from start to finish.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean,
has done a great job.
What have you made of his race here today, Scott?
A quiet one, but a very consistent and a very fast one at that. And he's done everything right. He's pretty much run his own race. He haven't really covered much of him because effectively we just left him to it. And he's done everything right. He hasn't made any mistakes. He's had a very trouble-free pit stop, a very successful one-stop strategy, and pretty much just doing everything he needs to do, keeping it on the black stuff, keeping it facing in the right direction. I presume he's dealt with traffic very well, and
It's pretty much been serene, hasn't it? I mean, he's come under pressure a little bit from Ross McGregor in the first part of the second stint, which was very impressive from Ross. But I'm not quite sure what happened to Ross with his second pit stop, because he's not even put on medium tyres at the second pit stop, because he's actually lost ground since that pit stop. So not quite sure what exactly happened there to Ross. If I were going into the pits anyway, I would have put soft tyres on or mediums and try and get the fastest lap of the race. In fact, actually, I think he still has the fastest lap of the race, so maybe he didn't need to. So that's that theory abolished. I just talked myself into that one, didn't I, Scott?
Yeah, I think there are signs that Ryan Callan is going. Is going
too long.
Yes, he has. And you still got the Super Tours and the Virtual Courier Cup to deal with. So God help us all.
Me. Oh,
Good stuff. Anyway, onto the penultimate lap.
I get live suicide.
Steady. Let's not go that. But
sorry, I just wanted to touch on the fact that Wiesenmuller is catching Monroe. The gap is 1.3 seconds. It was 3 seconds after they all got out that skirmish with Toby Davis. But Wiesenmuller, of course, is on the 2-stop. Monroe's on the 1-stop. But Wiesenmuller has got much better tyres here. Monroe is quicker than Wiesenmuller. Hello. What on earth is Robert doing there? What on earth was that? Let's have a quick look at that on the replay. So he comes down the straight. And I know it's been a long race, and it's the 39th lap here for Robert Wiesenmuller. But he just decides that he just go very light in the car here. He just go, that was almost actually a big accident, Scott. He did well on all of that in the end, actually. Going back to live action now, he's 1.2 seconds behind now, John Monroe. So he has better tyres. Remember, Monroe had those 2 screen freezes, which cost him over 20 seconds in this race. So he would have been very much a factor in this race, in fact. If he hadn't dropped back and then got involved in all kinds of battles and whatnot, did I just use that word? Wiesenmuller has had no problems at all, really, apart from battling a few times. And he's got better tyre life now as a result. It looks like to me that the 2-stop strategy has not worked. Wiesenmuller should really be ahead of Monroe, considering Monroe's issues with the screen freezes. Eric Tvite's been into the pits as well. He's probably put the soft tyres on to try and get the fastest lap, which is a bit cheeky. But Mikkel Helen and Matti Orban are still glued together on the track. Not quite as glued as they were, but there is Matti Orban. There he is, just popping over the top of the crest now. So Mikkel looks like he's fended off Matti Orban for now. Let's quickly run through the field on this penultimate lap then. So Adrian Holm, champion of Virtual Touring Masters, his first ever Touring Pro Series title. And Ross McGregor is in second spot. He came runner-up in the previous Virtual Touring Masters Championship. He took 4 wins, but runner-up. John Monroe took his first TPS win in the last season of Virtual Touring Masters. No wins this season, but has had a great season so far. 3rd spot in the championship, he'll take. Robert Wiesenmuller has taken a win this season at Phuket Koh Par, taking advantage of the faux pas of Klaus Naring. Eric Tvite has had just 3 races this season so far, has been somewhat competitive, but not the results that he would have liked. Chris Butcher has been his usual erratic self this season so far, and in this race has been pretty much an epitome of his race so far, of his season so far in this race. Reece Gardner has promised much and has delivered in this race as well, which is great to see. We did see him slap the wall very hard earlier on, but he's been able to recover from that and has carried on as in a strong 7th spot ahead of Klaus Naring, who we've seen in the wall about 15 times today. Rob Tappert has been very solid. Yeah, but look at Rob Taplin's car. It's absolutely beautiful. Not a single scratch on it.
No. It's the left rear bumper's a little bit dinged up.
Oh, he's spoilt it. Anyway, he's had a very, very solid race. He's picking up plenty of points here, enjoying himself around this beautiful track. Mikael Helen is a driver who has been very solid here today. He's just kept going, kept his nose out of trouble, picked up the positions of people who have made mistakes, and looks wonderful at the same time in his BMW 635 CSI, with Matty Orban in behind him, the best BMW M3 driver of this season and of this race. With Jonathan Ockerclint, we're fantastically pleased to be in 12th spot in his Ford Mustang. Matt Richards in 13th, with Jeff Dobbing 14th, Nielsen 15th, Sousa Ferreira in 16th, with Scott Cervic, Vickers, Bernard and Thomas Demelin in the final points-paying position at the moment. Tony Matthews still hasn't passed Paul Toby Davis, so Tony Matthews has had all kinds of wars out on track here today. Probably not with other cars, probably just with the walls, unfortunately. He's that far behind. He has not passed Toby Davis on track just yet. Should pass him now at the top of the mountain, I believe. But back to the leader. He is coming down the mountain straight for the final time in this race. It's been a fantastic season for Adrian Holm. He's been a well-deserved champion. He's made one mistake this season in 12 races, and in that race he made a mistake. He came back and won it, Scott. It's been a fantastic season. You are looking at one of the new superstars of Touring Pro Series and sim racing. I have no doubt about that. He comes down now to the final corner, Murray's, for the 31st time, and Adrian Holm is the Virtual Touring Masters Classic Champion. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, great stuff, and that is that and done and dusted for the Touring Car Legends. But what a way to end it, with a fantastic scrap and a brand new champion. Adrian Holm can take that form into the next couple of championships that we have, and hopefully he will maybe be a very prominent factor going forwards in TPS. But he should be well and truly happy with that. Ross McGregor with another strong showing for second place to win that race. Then third place, of course, we're going to wait for the scrap between VC Muller and Monroe, who will win out on that one, because they were almost nose to tail the last time that we saw them. They're going to come across the line fairly shortly to see who did win that one. If there is anything going on, we need to wait and see exactly who will be on top of this one. They're going to come across the line fairly shortly, I would have thought. Still waiting for them.
A while here.
Still waiting as well. And VC Muller gets it.
Where is John Monroe?
Now, has there been contact? I wonder, because Monroe comes through now, some 6 seconds back.
Wow.
Now, so has there been contact, I wonder?
We've missed that.
I think there's been a touch, or someone's made a mistake, or some's made a touch, so they're both parking up, so I wonder, has there been...
I'm thinking Monroe probably just made a mistake. There's no annoyance with each other on track there, is there? They're just doing donuts as they go around. Divine finishes in
tandem
spot.
as well, look at that. That's
very
no
good.
Look at that. That's brilliant.
Oh,
and Spike's thinking...
Get out there!
That's
beautiful!
Oh, they always... in perfect synchronicity.
You need to pay them.
Stuff.
And Reece Gardner almost pipped Chris Butcher to the line there, look. 0.8 of a second between the two at the line.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the Holden there. Highest Holden in 7th place. Klaus Nearing, after all his adventures, will come home in 8th place. And waiting for the last couple of cars to head through to finish off the top 10.
It's a very long lap here, of course, remember. We've had 41 laps, that's 250 kilometres. Very long race, a massive test of people's concentration. 21 drivers have finished the race. 9th spot is Rob Taplin, the Englishman taking that 9th spot. He had a very event-free race, really, in the end. Not quite as fast as I'm sure he would hope to be. Almost 2 minutes behind the leader. Well, Helen and Matty Orban round out the drivers on the lead lap. So Adrian Holm was so quick, he lapped everybody up to 11th spot on a 6.2 kilometre circuit.
Mighty impressive, and that's why he is the VTM Classic Champion, and it will be quite a spectacle to see, and it's going to be of great interest to everyone on the TPS paddock just how well he copes if he is going to be racing in either and both the Virtual Super Tourers and also with the Virtual Carrera Cup going forward as it returns once again with a very Australian theme on that one, right? Because of course we are heading to only Australian circuits for the new Virtual Carrera Cup, and then of course we end out of all places here, Bathurst once again. So that will be something that will definitely be.
We'll talk about that in just a few minutes here, of course. We'll get some driver interviews also as well in there for you, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes' time. Enjoy. Hello and welcome back to what's been a very eventful race here at Bathurst for the final round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic. It's been a classic season, it has to be said, Scott. Incident all the way, superb driving, crashes, overtakes, wonderful, wonderful racing. And now we've rounded it off, and the champion is Adrian Holm. Congratulations to you, Adrian. Fantastic season you've done. I mean, absolutely brilliant. Almost mistake-free, apart from Suzuka first lap, and you came back and won that anyway. So it was a completely irrelevant mistake. Could the season have gone any better for you?
First of all, thank you very, very much. Means a lot to me. It was been a really tough season. Even though it might have looked easy, it wasn't for sure. Yeah. What was the question? Sorry.
Could your season have gone any better? Could you have dreamed it going as well as this?
No, not really. I mean, I had 2 incidents pretty much the whole season, and I couldn't have done anything to avoid them really. So I just been driving at the top of my game every round, every race. I think. Only thing that I really can say that I'm a bit disappointed is my qualifying, but the races has been my strong point as always, and yeah, it's been a great season, my best one by far for sure.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, what do you think's made the difference for you? Because you had so much promise when you came to TPS, of course. If, everyone remembers you almost won your first race at Sydney. This is back in 2011, and then it took you, 2 years to then win a race at Touring Pro Series, something no one thought would happen. And then from there, from that late 2013 win, you've really blossomed as a driver. You've won championships elsewhere. You've come here, the most competitive sim racing in the world, in the touring cars, and you've won the title almost comfortably. I mean, it definitely wasn't comfortable when you dissect the championship in terms of the races, but what's made the difference for you?
I think having a good car every round, being on top of the setup and stuff from the beginning, from the get-go, from the first lap really. And yeah, just big boost since I joined THR as well, so huge thanks to the whole THR crew, Toby, Robin, Butchie mostly. It's been an amazing year really, and to top it off with this is just incredible. Yeah.
You sound quite emotional, really. Actually, tired and emotional, and very happy. What do you see? What are your plans from here in sim racing now? Obviously, for now, enjoy the moment. But what do you see yourself doing in the future? What are your ambitions?
I've tried to keep that out of my mind during VTM, since I know I had time to decide afterwards. But at the moment, I really feel like taking a break for a couple of months, but it will be tough to make that decision. But it would be nice with some time off, but we'll see what happens. I really don't know.
Okay, well, congratulations, Adrian. Everybody, all the drivers congratulating you, all the spectators, myself, Scott, Keith, everybody. It's been a fantastic season from him, Scott, hasn't it?
It really has, and I want to add my congratulations as well, Adrian. I mean, you've had a very clean, consistent season. I mean, so in the commentary, do you think that this championship victory, provided if you are going to be competing in these championships, do you reckon that's going to put you in good stead and it's going to give you good momentum if you're going to be competing in either or both of the Virtual Super Tourers and the Virtual Carrera Cup? How do you think that'll put you in good stead if you are taking part?
I think I respond well to pressure, so being like the guy that's been the recent champion, I think suits me. But we'll see really. But yeah, it's not good being on top of your game when it counts or when a new season starts.
And in terms of both of those championships, just very quickly, both those championships, if you are competing in either one, which one are you looking most favourable for, do you think? And which one do you think you stand the best chance of carrying on the success that you've achieved here?
Super Tours. Yeah. I don't really into Porsches.
Not a bad answer.
It's into the old cars. Congratulations to Adrian. Scott, you've got John Munro to speak to now. Obviously, we've already spoken to Toby earlier race after he gate crashed our commentary. But John's finished third in this championship and had a very eventful race here today.
Yes, indeed. John, of course, you've had a very up and down race. You had a couple of those dramatic screen freezes, but even so, you've managed to tear yourself back through the field up into getting a brilliant fourth position. Just talk us through, first of all, what really happened with those two screen freezes, other than you had a screen freeze. But, I mean, and as to what extent did that affect you going forward into the rest of the race in terms of, confidence in the car or confidence in your system? And what did that do kind of to you after that happened?
When it actually happened, it was mainly frustration. Just kind of, to be fair, at first I thought that the whole game had crashed because it was the same kind of problem where you're driving down the straight and then suddenly the engine rev stays the same and nothing moves, and you're just thinking, oh, here goes the game. But then suddenly my car reappeared in 7th position, exactly where the freeze had started, and it was all kind of, it was just really disappointing considering I'd been driving a good start to the race and I was looking for a podium in my first TPS race at Bathurst. But I think, to be honest, it kind of spurred me on even in the rest of the race just to go even harder. I mean, I drove probably the hardest race I've ever done in the Touring Pro Series, and I'm absolutely delighted with how it's turned out. It's a shame I didn't quite get the podium at the end, but absolutely fantastic race from my point of view.
And then going forwards, of course, at one point you actually came up to the fight that was going on, and the epic scrap between Toby and Eric for what was third place. And what was brilliant is that you just seemed to sail up behind them, and with the power advantage you had with the Nissan, just sail past both of them. But but there was that incident with Toby where you almost lost it. So how close do you think you were from potentially, given the angle of the contact you had with Toby, how close do you think you were to potentially being out of this race?
I wasn't really thinking about that, to be honest. It was more just, I had the bit between my teeth going up to it. I was setting my fastest laps and I was just concentrating more than ever. It was more actually to get away from Robert because I knew he was on the 2-stop and I was only 1-stopping, and having lost the time early on, he was then in the prime position. So when I came up to Toby and Eric, it was just I was just hot lapping to catch up with them. Then got past Toby obviously in the last corner, but he had a bit of a slide and kind of came back from, he was well on the outside, but he kind of came back towards the racing line out of the corner, and I ran a bit wide because I was pushing. So that was the first contact between us, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, as you say, once I got past him, it was a bit dodgy when I think we were having a really good battle, and Toby went for the inside of the move. I didn't really see it coming. It's not really a place I was expecting a pass, and it was just massive. Kind of big knock in the back of the car, and it sent me slightly into the wall. But to be honest, I wasn't too worried. It was more about, at that point, it was just having a great fun race and just wanting to finish in a decent position. So it was just one of those things. It was unfortunate for Toby.
And then, of course, now the season's finished. I mean, of course, going forwards now to the two championships, going forwards into the winter and going forwards into the new year. Again, I guess similar question to Adrian. Which ones are you looking at competing in, either or both? And which one do you think you're going to be you'll be able to provide the strongest performance in?
Well, I think a couple of seasons ago I would have said I'd do both, but I'm kind of focusing more on the real life racing at the moment. So sim racing's kind of taken a side seat, but it's still a fantastic kind of hobby to do. And it's great to do in my spare time. I think I'm going to be going for the Super Tourers, and hopefully THR can put out a really strong team like they have in VTM for the Super Tours. I'm really looking forward to that one. I've been wanting to drive those cars forever, since I was a young boy watching all the BTCC reviews from that era, and I'm sure lots of people can relate to that. But absolutely, buzzing for that series. Is going to be fantastic.
I think that speaks for all of us, and also as well, I'd say well done for third place, and also I want to say my personal best wishes to your real racing career, because I know in some of the sprints that you've been doing, you've been actually setting really fast times, even class records. So your rise in the real racing world as well as sim racing is being very well catalogued. So well done for the season. Best of luck going forwards for next year with your sprinting, your motorsport career, and fingers crossed for your chance in the Super Tours.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Right, thank you for that, Scott. And now I'm going to speak to Robert Wiesenmuller. Rob, a good season for you. Missed a couple of races in the middle of the season with some injuries, but you had a good race here today. Not quite sure the two-stop strategy worked out for you, though.
Yeah, I think in the end it worked out. I was not that fast, and I was also very, very ragged at the end of the stint. It was kind of the same problem that I had at Brands Hatch already. That on these tracks with a lot of elevation changes and these corners, I'm just not doing so well. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to risk going so long on one stint, just take the two-stop strategy, and probably was slower, but in the end it didn't really matter.
Now, as you say, you had you started the season, and in the middle bit you missed a few races due to an injury, and then you've ended the season. You took a win in the middle of it also as well, which I know pleased you immensely. And what's been your favourite part apart from the win? Because I know you picked.
Well, the win, actually the race when I won, it was not so spectacular. I think the race today was really exciting. It was really, really exhausting as well. And I was close to the last lap with John, so that's definitely up there. I think at Trois-Rivières, that Spa, I was driving pretty well, so these two are definitely there as well. I think one of these, I can't really decide.
Now, going forward into the winter time, I believe you're planning on taking part in the virtual Super Tourers.
Yes.
Nothing else to add to that? Which car do you want to drive?
I will drive the Honda, the older Honda.
The Gen 5.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I will team up with John, so that should be good. We had a great battle pretty much throughout the whole season here in VTM. And
you're right buddies now, you two, aren't you? They decided to go with Skylines with each other, and now are you both driving Hondas, John?
No, I'm in the Primera.
Oh, in the Primera. Oh,
But it's close enough.
Honda versus Nissan. No, it's fractions within the camp. Anyway, Rob, thank you for your race today, and thank you for taking part in the season. And congrats on a good result here today, and congrats in the 5th place in the championship as well. Because that, considering you missed a few races, that's
it's not bad.
A great result in the end. And Scott, you've got Mr. Butcher to speak to now.
Yes, indeed. Chris, again, another up and down season for yourself. Of course, you've been thereabouts getting some good results. But again, you were in the mix of it and always in and around the top 10 today. Just talk us through how you found your evening's work on the mountain.
I hated it. It was it was a rubbish race. Well, it wasn't. It was a good race, but a poor performance from me, I thought. I mean, Toby showed the true pace of the car. I just wasn't with it today. Feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I just didn't have the pace regardless. And I just wasn't really happy with the way I was driving, to be honest. I obviously looked into was it 6th place or 7th place? I can't remember.
6th.
6th because of Toby's DNF, which isn't unusual at Bathurst, unfortunately. It's just mediocre race, I think. And it wasn't helped by my appalling start. Going from 11th to 20th wasn't really my idea of a good start. Bit of a. I don't really want to put a downer on it, but a bit of a bad way to end the season for me, I think.
I guess looking back on obviously the seasons that you've run, of course, with yourself and the Labatt Sierra. I mean, is there any part of running in Virtual Touring Masters with this mod that you can look back on with any happy memories, or has it kind of been a season kind of really up and down fortunes for yourself in terms of how you found it? Well, what is it you'll take away from this particular championship that you can take back as a memory or any kind of positive? Do you think?
Do you mean in this season or all of the ones?
Just in general as a whole from Virtual Touring Masters.
Well, personally, I think season 3 was the best. I think that's when probably at its most competitive and the cars were best balanced. I personally thought, and I had some good battles with Jesper and Toby, and that was probably the closest I ever came to fighting for the championship. But no, there's been some good races and there's been some bad races, and there's definitely been times when I should have done better. But this league will always have a soft spot in my heart. It's the league that got me into racing at Touring Pro Series, and it's been good overall.
How did that first race go, Chris, in the Virtual Tour Masters?
The very first one?
Yes.
I think I did about 3 corners and then crashed out.
So it's improved since then. I just wanted to get Chris on that because I always like to tease him about that. Sorry,
well, you could say that, but you could say that. But the first race of this season, I crashed out at the second turn. So
excellent. And you also just again same with these guys here. And what are your plans going to be for the Winter Series? Are you going to be competing in either one? And if so, which one are you looking forward to the most? And what are your plans to kind of which car you'll be competing in if it is Super Touros? What are your plans for the winter?
I'm going to be different, and I'm going to race in the Kairos. So I think I'll be racing a Porsche.
I'd probably gather so. Yeah, I was just intrigued if you were racing in the Super Touros, what car you'd go for. But I think it's almost it's think it's almost unanimous. I think a Porsche is probably the car to go for in the Carreras, to be honest.
Yeah, there might be a chance that I do the Super Tour. In fairness, I will end up doing it. I've just not really got around to testing yet. So I'll probably be there, but as for what it'll be, I have no idea.
Excellent. Well, good stuff. Obviously, said you were a little disappointed with your race today, but even so, some happy memories at least to take away from the Virtual Touring Masters, and best of luck going forwards.
Thanks very much.
Now, so I'm going to now interview Mr. Ross McGregor. Ross had another chance of perhaps putting some pressure on Adrian Humm and winning this race here today, just like at Trois Rivières. But Ross, it appears pit stop blunder came to strike home again. What's happened out there?
Yeah, I had a misfire.
Had a misfire?
No.
Was that Chris Hack giving the wrong strategy advice again?
That's Chris giving me excuse tips, is what that is.
Oh no, I know what he did. He came into the pits for some of Chris Hack's cake.
No, cake and biscuits.
Cake and biscuits. Well, that's greedy. Anyway, sorry, Ross. What happened in the race actually? In all seriousness.
Yep, short fueled, so I had to come in for a splash and dash.
Did you not think to put like some medium tyres on while you were there?
I thought about it, but I thought that's something else that could go wrong. So
Well, I guess that's actually quite good. But I mean, you showed some great pace in the final two races of this season.
Yep.
At Trois Rivières, we were quite close to Adrian. Unfortunately, a little ding with the pit wall ended up costing you 40 seconds in the end. And then the short fill here today. Did you think you had a chance of catching Adrian in this race?
Yes.
It's towards the end of the... Oh, okay. Oh.
Bullshit.
Explain why. Adrian.
yeah, sorry. Definitely catching up. Yep, felt good. I was doing good times. And I thought, yep, this is it. I'll go for it. And then I realised, no fuel.
How short on fuel were you?
It was about 30 litres, I think.
30 litres?
Yeah.
Goodness me. You need to sack your strategist. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, already
anyway.
sacked.
I mean, this is obviously your best performance. I think this is your best performance of the season so far.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's your best result in the end as well, anyway.
Yeah,
but in terms of
was,
pace,
yeah.
you were definitely closer than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd been this close at the start of the season, do you think you could have run Adrian close for the title?
Hard to say, but probably yes, if I was on top of the setup.
Yeah.
Because it's just the past two rounds that I've really worked it out, how to make the car go quickly.
Yeah.
Not so much in qualifying, but definitely in the race. But yeah, to start the season, if I know now if I knew then what I know now, then obviously it would have been a bit more interesting, but sadly not.
And obviously, unfortunately, strategy has been a bit of your weak point this season also as well, with the no stopping at Spa, for example. No, I'm just obviously just being a bit mean here. But you also you had a strong season. It's just that the small things obviously come to bite you, haven't they, in the end?
Yep, that's it. It's just these small little mistakes. Fortunately, I'm doing the Carrera Cup, so you can't do any pit stops there. So
yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
true. I might just throw some in just for you.
Thanks.
But obviously, Carrera Cup is coming up. You've got some good pace in those cars. Didn't really get to show it in 2014 season because you missed quite a few races and ended up being in Division 2 and having to battle your way back in. How do you rate your chances in that one? Because you're going to be racing with THR, which normally gives some kind of help with setups and obviously moral support as well. But now Marius Gollenbeck has released all the setups for everybody anyway, so it kind of negates that. How do you feel that partnership's going to go? Because it will be your debut season with THR, obviously influenced by the fact that you teamed up with Chris Hack.
Yeah, it's honestly, I don't think I can go for a sort of title challenge. Top 5 would be nice. I think in the teams championship we've got a decent chance if we can do all the races, but yeah, I don't think it's a viable option.
What about the races with the reverse grid?
I never knew that, but
Has been reading the rules.
yeah, it's I suppose it's doable to get some reverse grid wins. But yeah, it's going to be tricky because obviously the depth of kind of talent in the field's quite high, so it's always going to be difficult no matter what race you're doing. So.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Ross. Thank you for the season you've had as well.
No problem.
You've entertained us
Thank you.
out on track, and better luck in the 2015 VCC season.
Thank you.
Now, Scott, you got who should we speak to next, Scott? I'll let you pick.
I'll tell you what. We'll pick the hometown hero. We'll pick Reese Gardner. I think.
Oh, good idea.
Who actually had a really good, solid race this day. And Reese, because hauling the big Holden around Mount Panorama, bring it to its spiritual home. Of course, you actually had a very solid run today. But at one point, you gave the wall between Sulman Park and McPhilip Park a bit of a whack, didn't you? Just talk us through what happened there on that sequence.
That happened? I don't remember that. The whole race is just it's a blur to me. I remember nothing. I'm sorry, but like I know I did clip the walls a couple of times, and that did give my car damage. So I don't know. I just turn off damage and just keep going because the car didn't handle any differently. There was no difference to my pace, so why not?
And the good thing was you had a couple of flashes of brilliance during the season with the Holden in the last couple of rounds at least. So it definitely has been almost a season that's helped you kind of come of age in some cases. So I mean, how much more confidence is that going to give you going forward into the winter and for the next series of 2015? Is it going to give you a bit more kind of motivation to kind of push yourself a bit further up the grid?
Oh yeah, it's going to give me lots of motivation. I think at this point in my time sim racing, I haven't driven any better ever. So I'm very, very happy with my season, and I had a couple of mishaps, couple of weird incidents and stuff like that, couple of penalties even, but I think I cleaned that up, and I'd consider myself a pretty competitive driver now. So looking to the future, I suppose.
And in terms of the future going forward, the question we've asked quite a few of these guys for the Winter Championship, if you are competing, which is it going to be? Is it going to be Super Tourers or is it going to be Carreras?
It's going to be Super Tourers. I passionately dislike Porsches, like the way they drive, so I won't touch them with a barge pole. So I'm going to be going Super Tourers, and like one of the THR pairings, it is going to be a Japanese one. I'm going to be driving the Honda Accord Gen 5, and I'll be teaming up with Oscar Hardwick in the Nissan Primera. And yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Super Tourers because front-wheel drive 2-litre touring cars is where I got my start in sim racing almost 6 years ago. So it'll be like coming
we're not able to get rid of you since.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Don't be mean.
Really just
to remind everyone, by the way, Reese said, "Oh, the Tour Masters is back. Oh, I'll have to do this series. This will be my farewell to European racing." Oh, yeah. I'll do this. The Super Tours is out. Oh, that'll be my farewell to European racing. So we keep dragging him back in, unfortunately.
I've abandoned all ideas of a farewell tour.
You watch. We'll get to Assetto Corsa. Oh no, that'll be my farewell tour. That'll be it. That'll be the one I say farewell on.
I will never retire. Never.
Good. We'd like to hear that.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we'll do one more interview. I'll do a couple more interviews actually. We'll Jeff Dobbing, we'll grab his ear for a wee chat. Jeff, you've had a really, really solid season. In a few races, you've not picked up the results that your pace has deserved, either through instances of your making or of none of your own making. Just rate your season for us, because we've been really impressed, haven't we, Scott, and how quick he's gone, and Keith has been as well.
Definitely.
Considering how long you've been away, Jeff.
Yeah, it's been a good season. Probably about 6, 7 out of 10, something like that. Obviously, I'm nowhere near the pace of the guys at the front, but they're just setting blistering times. Just can't get my head around that. But yeah, been struggling with time for practice as well. So really just trying to focus on keeping it consistent, like I normally do, and just try and bring it home for the finish. Get the points in the bag.
I mean, it's worked very effectively this season so far, and you've qualified in the top 10 several times. We haven't even seen sight nor sound of you since the last Virtual Tour Master season with this mod. I'm not quite sure how you've managed to keep up the pace quite that much. What have you been doing since?
Been very stuff. Again, time has been a real issue. I mean, I had to come back and do this one. This was the one that's, it got me into TPS to start with. And of all the mods, this is my favourite one out of the lot. So I had to do this one.
And do you have any plans to compete in the wintertime, or is it back to watching from the sidelines?
Unsure yet, probably not. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, Jeff. Well, thanks for talking to us. Scott, you in a quick word with Andy Bonner.
Yes, indeed, Andy. Of course, another an intriguing season for yourself in the old Alfa Romeo. So, how's it gone? How's your fortunes been? Because of course today you had a bit of ups and downs, and there's some several battles down to the rear end of the field. But even so, I think overall a fairly strong performance overall. I think in the season. How would you rate your kind of your almost your farewell tour in terms of with the virtual touring masters?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it tonight. To be honest, it was one race where I thought I can get some points because I've struggled with that all season. But yeah, literally, I thought just stick at it, and we'll get there. And the bonus was I managed to get 4 points, I think, and I'm now back in the positive for the championship.
Fantastic, excellent stuff. And I guess a similar question to everyone else. What were your plans be towards the Winter Series? What are you looking to try and compete in going forwards into 2015?
Gotta be honest, I've not really thought that far ahead yet. I need to work on what days I'm
Andy, it's
available.
only a month away. Come on.
I know.
Sort it out.
I know. The problem I've got, to be honest, is Saturdays and Fridays are not much good for me at the moment, so it's a bit tricky.
Oh, you have to sort yourself out in that one of those virtual Super Tours then. You must have owned a Cavalier or a Vectra at some point, or something of that ilk.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying you're quite old. No, I won't wind you up. But,
no, I'll have a look. Definitely have a look.
Well, I thought Scott was doing this interview, but obviously I've taken over. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. That was kind of really that. Those only questions I really had. Unless you've got any more.
Oh, I see. So, Andy didn't get any more questions than that. I mean, you've competed in several seasons here, Andy, in the Touring Pro Series, in several different types of championship. But the VTM has definitely been your favourite, from what you've said. What's been your favourite memory of VTM over the years?
To be honest,
it doesn't have to be your experience. It could be something else that you enjoyed.
Yeah, I think the best one for me was the first one I did, which was season 3. I don't know whether it was down to the tracks, because there's a few different tracks in there, and just because it was my first real competitive league, and it was obviously you get the first race when you're extremely nervous because you know you're not quite up to the pace as most people. But yeah, it's been really good all the way through, to be honest.
Yeah, there's nothing like the adrenaline rush of waiting on a grid. It doesn't matter where you are on the grid. It's so exciting. I absolutely miss it, and I want to get back racing myself. So thank you for that, Andy. And hopefully we'll see you in the winter time also as well. And hopefully we'll see you in a Assetto Corsa in the future also. As obviously the M3 is obviously already in Assetto Corsa, and the 190E. He's coming to Assetto Corsa. I don't know if anyone's aware of that, or everyone's aware of that, but we'll be able to do the Touring Masters on Assetto Corsa also as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in kind of the springtime. That'll be fantastic stuff on those laser scan tracks with those fantastic cars. So thank you to everyone for driving in this championship. Thank you to all the spectators for watching. Thank you to Scott for commentating with me. Thank you to Keith for turning up occasionally. Thank you to all the people that make this possible, of course. You've got to think about all the things that make this happen. There's the myriad of partners. And thank you to everybody for watching, and thank you to the drivers, of course, for driving, because without them, we would be no championship at all. Next in the virtual Touring Masters, next in the virtual Carrera Cup and then Touring Pro Series is on the middle of November. You can check the dates out there, and then after that, on Wednesdays, on alternate weeks, we have that's the wrong calendar. I do apologise. We have the virtual Super Tourers. They're going to be featuring also as well. Going to be a fantastic season that is also. So thank you for the season, and take care.